local across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: 3 investigations at Bedford Immigration Centre. Miliband rules out deal with SNP. And Luton boxing champion jailed for role in drugs gang.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The most recent inquiry involves the suspension of a custody officer for allegedly using excessive force to disperse a protest. More from Tony Fisher.
Detainees claim the guard used the edge of his riot shield to hit them on their legs and feet. CCTV footage of the incident has caused prison inspectors considerable concern. A detainee who collapsed and died at the centre's family unit is the subject of another inquiry, and 2 staff members are being investigated following allegations of abuse.
The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have appeared in the last TV event before the election. David Cameron refused to spell out whether or not he planned to cut child benefit. Nick Clegg defended going into coalition with the Conservatives, and Ed Miliband gave his most emphatic rejection yet of any agreement with the SNP.
If it meant we weren't going to be in government, not doing a coalition, not having a deal, then so be it. I'm not going to sacrifice the future of our country, the unity of our country. I'm not going to give in to SNP demands around Trident, around the deficit or anything like that.
A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. Tony Draper from Waterhall Primary School, who's also head of the National Association of Head Teachers, says schools are having to find more than £43 million every year to pay for this. Russell Hobby is the union's General Secretary.
70% of the schools said they were now providing mental health care services that were once provided by the local authority. We should be really glad that they're doing that, and we should have admiration for teachers who are willing to step in. But you also have to say there are services and there are professionals who are trained to do this. We must fund them properly.
The Red Cross says towns near the epicentre of Saturday's earthquake in Nepal have suffered almost total devastation. More than 6,000 people are known to have died. A former world boxing champion from Luton is beginning 7 years in prison for supplying drugs. Graham Earl was part of a gang of dealers operating in Hitchin and Letchworth. More from Barry Caffrey.
Earl, who once held the WBU lightweight title and fought Amir Khan, had his last fight in 2014 when he came out of retirement. But the 36-year-old from Talbot Way in Luton was part of a 6-strong gang which supplied cocaine and cannabis and sold it on the streets. The leader of the gang, Christopher Collins from Paynes Park in Hitchin, was jailed for 12 years, while another boxer, 26-year-old Amador Rahman from Jessup Road in Stevenage, was jailed for 4 years.
In sport, England have an injury doubt over all-rounder Ben Stokes ahead of the 3rd cricket test against the West Indies, which starts in Barbados this afternoon. The weather: a chilly start, then a dry, fine day with plenty of sunshine, a maximum temperature 12 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Gotta get up, gotta get out. Grab the world by the throat and shout. Gotta find it, get us a share. Making bread out of nothing but air. Riding high and hitting the ground.
Catching a penny, but missing the pound.
Doesn't matter, cause we'll soon turn it around. As soon as we get home, that's why we're trying home. Instead of crying home, keep it in the family. We'll be right at home. We'll make it and we'll take it home. Nothing's gonna break it home. Keep it in the family. Knocking on doors
Or making a plan.
I'll give you the tenner for your old tin can. Buy it.
LH.
The games get mad, cause someone's dealing you a losing card. Gotta find it, get us a share. Gotta make bread out of nothing but air. Doesn't matter, cause we got someone who cares. Home, that's why we're trying home. Instead of crying home, keep it in the family. We'll be
Morning, guys. Iain Lee, BBC Three Counties Radio. Distinctly 80s vibe to the music today, because me and Kath went downstairs and nicked a load of records, and they're all from the 80s. So, the big question this morning, 08459 455 555, pencils or sharpeners?
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
And that question's from the 80s as well, so, I mean, we're keeping it thematic.
I've not even seen what you've chosen. These are the ones I've chosen, Catherine. Belinda Carlisle, The Communards, Tears for Fears, Tiffany, Jane Weedlin, Martika.
I see your Martika and I raise you a Morrissey, Kim Wilde, Travelling Wilburys, Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians. I've got a bit of a squeeze. I've got Billy Joel.
Yeah.
I mean, I am 80'd up to the max.
I say 80s. We're going to go 1979. Let's have a little bit of. Let's have a little bit of this, shall we? Then we'll start the show proper.
Knockers are better.
Pencils or sharpeners? 08459 455 555. You can text 81333. Start your text 3CR. Dealey's taking it to the streets. He's also going to be hanging out, I believe, with what do they call those people who are very light on their feet? With the hankies flapping around in the air. The Morris dancers.
Morris men.
Sorry?
Morris men.
What about the Morris women?
Well, I think they're in a different troupe. I think Morris...
I like a bit of Morris dancing. It's silly, but I like it.
Yeah.
Because it's like... It's all those people... for me, you know these people say, well, I'm proud to be English.
Mm-hmm.
what does it mean to be English? The only thing I can think of it means to be English is Morris dancers. And it's so fey and light and limp. And we're supposed to be proud of that. And I genuinely think it's brilliant. If I see Morris dancers anywhere, I will always stop and have a look.
I think that should be the answer to people who say, "Oh, I'm proud to be English." Are you a Morris man? No, you're not proud to be English.
Yeah. The only true Englishman is a Morris dancer. That's the only true one. Everyone else, come on, out.
Although
back home.
In the world of dance, I mean, we could do better, couldn't we?
You did they get any Morris men on Sky's one, So You Think You Can Dance? Hosted by Davina McCall and the fella from Diversity.
It's a matter of time.
Prison watchdogs are back at Yarlswood this morning as the detention centre the focus of another round of damaging allegations. It seems to pop up every few weeks. In fact, it's the third inspection by Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Prisons in the space of a month. A custody officer has been suspended as part of the latest inquiry amid claims that he used excessive force to break up a protest. Catherine, back in the news again. What do we know about this incident?
Well, this centres around an incident in which detainees were staging a protest outside the bedroom of a Kenyan asylum seeker who was about to be deported. Now, they claim that dozens of staff in riot gear dragged them out and that one guard in particular used the edge of his riot shield to hit them on their legs and feet. Now, Serco said that staff had believed the women were armed with cutlery, so the guards had gone in wearing protective clothing. The lawyer representing 4 of the detainees is Usman Noor. He says the force used was excessive.
It was absolutely a peaceful protest. There was no weapons used. They were all sitting on the floor. 8 vulnerable women matched against 40 officers with riot shields, with helmets. There's no contest, really, in terms of the use of force in that situation.
What else does Serco have to say about this?
Well, Serco said the officers intervened when 8 residents tried to stop staff from having access to one of the rooms in a bid to prevent a detainee from being deported. Now, there were suggestions that they may have been armed with cutlery. 9 staff armed with shields were called in to deal with the disturbance, according to Serco. One woman complained of injury and was taken to hospital the following morning as a precautionary measure, where it was found that she had bruising to her ankle. Serco's contract director at Yarlswood, Norman Abusin, has been talking to our reporters and told them it's an unfortunate fact that very occasionally at Yarlswood some residents take it upon themselves to be disruptive and try to block the deportation of residents at the end of their appeals process.
Yeah, and it could be argued that some guards take it upon themselves to, do all kinds of stuff, according to the allegations that have been made recently.
And the inspectors will have a look into that.
Yeah.
But Norman Abusin continues, after several hours of trying to persuade the residents to disperse voluntarily, the decision was taken to forcibly remove them. A number of staff had to be involved in that intervention, and it's a tribute to the staff at Yarlswood that when they did intervene, the incident was rapidly resolved. The only injury was a mild bruise to a resident's ankle. A custody officer, though, has since been suspended over concerns that he'd used his shield in an inappropriate way.
And considerable concern has been caused for prison inspectors. That's what they're saying, isn't it?
Officials from the independent Her Majesty's Inspectorate of Prisons, which is currently carrying out that inspection of Yarlswood, or that latest inspection of Yarlswood, said their concerns arose from CCTV footage of the incident. Serco also videoed the incident on a handheld camera, as is standard procedure. Inspectors watched the footage, which they say gave rise to considerable concern. They're due to finish their inspection today, and their report won't be published for several weeks.
And there are 2 other investigations ongoing. What's happening there?
Well, one of them involves 33-year-old Pinakin Patel. She collapsed and died at the centre's family unit on Monday, April the 12th. That death is being investigated by the Prisons and Probation Ombudsman, but a spokesman for Bedfordshire Police said the death was not being treated as suspicious and had been passed to the county's coroner. 2 Serco officers have been suspended as well after an undercover Channel 4 documentary. You remember this one, Iain?
Oh, yes.
Exposed racist, sexist and generally abusive and degrading language towards detainees. The investigation into that is still ongoing, and a spokesman for Serco said there's currently nothing to report.
Do you remember when we, ages ago, we spoke to the then boss of Serco? And he went, yeah, no, everything is all right. I will come on any time you want. I'm proud. We've got a few problems, but we can sort them out. And then he kind of left his job about 3 weeks later, didn't he?
Yeah, after saying that he would come on whenever we wanted him to.
We can never get him to... I'm assuming that Yarlswood are not coming on today.
No, they're not.
They're not coming on today, guys. They're too busy polishing their shields. That's what they're up to, for goodness sakes. 08459 455 555. So why I just accepted blindly yesterday when Justin said he was going to go to Ampthill Hill to talk to loads of Morris dancers. It didn't occur to me to question him why.
May Day.
Well, that's Monday, isn't it?
It's May Day today. It's 1st of May.
Is it May Day? But, so what's... I know Monday's the bank holiday, and by the way, guys, Catherine and I are in.
Yeah. We'll be rabbit holing.
We'll be rabbit holing for the whole 3 hours.
So they go up and say hello to the sun. They go up to Catherine's Cross at Ampthill. You know...
Is she?
Well, she was, actually. You know,
she normally isn't, she, Kels?
Yeah.
You know which Catherine I'm referring to, not this one.
Yeah, of course I do. Well, I know Catherine she's referring to.
Which Catherine?
You know, don't you, Kels?
The cross one.
Yeah.
Which Catherine?
Of Aragon.
Yeah.
Yeah! History lives in me. We are stardust. I'm 1 billion years old.
When Henry VIII decided that he wanted to marry someone else, he put her out to pasture, didn't he?
It's got a bit boring now, mate.
Anyway, she was in Ampthill for a while.
Yeah, There's
a memorial there.
Yeah.
And that's where they'll be doing the dancing.
What you've done is you've just taken that bit too far.
Oh.
History's boring, mate. It happened.
Wow.
Get over it, all right?
Gosh.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M40, there's been an accident at junction 1A for the M25. It's a serious accident, so 2 lanes have been closed, which is likely to cause some delays as it starts to get busier. In Chalfont St Giles, Bowstridge Lane is still closed in both directions between the High Street and Chalfont St Giles and Narcott Lane after a building fire. And in Milton Keynes on the A421 Standing Way, there's roadworks at the Kingston roundabout, so expect delays there later on this morning. On the trains, Southern have delays between Watford Junction and Balham. It's because of a problem with some of the trains yesterday, which were damaged by a problem with the tracks. So that's causing half-hour delays. And the 6:22 service from Bedford to Sutton is cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. 6:16. It's Friday, the 1st of May. Happy 1st of May, guys. Let's go and salute the sun. News headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Every year, BBC Music supports thousands of new musicians.
BBC's like the station, and that's what you kind of need to get your music on.
From the Young Brass Award to BBC Introducing.
It was an opportunity to get my songs on the radio.
It is Mr. Jake Bond!
They gave me that opportunity, and without that, there wouldn't be much.
And from BBC Sound Of to the Young Musician of the Year.
Nicola Benedetti.
There's no question about the help that BBC Young Musician of the Year gave me. I'm grateful for it every day.
BBC Music gives new musical talent the platform they deserve.
It's an amazing feeling to be recognised,
Find out more about all of our schemes at bbc.co.uk/music.
Morning, geezer.
Morning, boss.
How you doing, Phil?
Very, very excited because today's perspective on the streets is a very unique one.
Go on.
Recently, we've had the German perspective, the Swedish perspective.
I think we had the Latvian perspective recently.
The Ivory Coast perspective.
I didn't enjoy... I think it was an Albanian perspective, because that guy, I don't remember what he said, but he was speaking rubbish. My favourite, of course, has been the Sadiq perspective.
Yes.
Yes. Oh, that reminds me. I've something I meant to say to you, Justin.
Good morning, sir.
There we go. Thank you.
You're very
Starts
welcome.
my day perfectly.
So whose perspective have we got today?
Well, today it's the perspective which I think has been overlooked in recent years. It's the Morris dancers.
Overlooked in the last 300 years.
Yes. So Morris dancers, yes. I mean, whatever the talking point of the day is, I'll be going to Ampthill and we will be getting their perspective on the day's big story.
Well, Catherine, tell him what the first question is of the day.
Pencils or sharpeners?
I love it.
What do you like best?
For me, always been a pencil man.
I do enjoy a nice sharp pencil. You can't have one without the other, though, can
I prefer a sharpener.
Do you?
Obs. Yeah, of course. Of course I love a sharpener. The worst thing about pencils, right?
Yeah.
Is when the lead is broken inside the pencil.
Yeah.
You sharpen it. You go to write, it pops out. So you sharpen it again. You go to write, it pops out.
Yeah. Yeah, if you get...
Oh, OK, guys, all right. This is what we'll do. For the pencils or sharpeners, yes, call us in now. Also, your stories about pencils, and indeed, your stories about sharpeners. Maybe you've got a fancy electric one. Bzzz, a lot of fun.
Ooh.
Maybe you've got a propelling pencil. And boy, oh boy, was I disappointed to find out a self-propelling pencil is one of those ones where you push a button.
Yeah.
As a kid, I thought they flew. I genuinely thought they
like
flew.
jet propelled.
Yeah, I thought they had like helicopters.
Do you remember if you got given the job of sharpening the pencils at school and you went and used that one that was like viced, clamped to the desk with a tin and
Of course, Justin, you know this story, Catherine.
Go.
You know the space race between the Russians and the Americans.
I think so. Yeah.
You remember it? It's a race to get into space. And you know this story. This is a famous story. And the Americans were desperately trying to beat the Russians on technology and all of that kind of stuff. And the Americans spent about 10 years and something like $1 billion trying to come up with a pen that would write in space. Because obviously there's no gravity, so the ink...
won't flow.
It won't flow, will it?
Yeah.
So finally, after 10 years and $1 billion, NASA had invented a pen that could write upside down, could write any which way but loose, OK? And they invited the Russians to NASA, and the highlight of the tour was, they said, and finally, the final thing we want to show you, this is 10 years in the making, this proves American superiority in space. We've got a pen that writes in space. And do you know what the Russian fella said?
Go on.
We use pencils. And he pwned them. It's true. It's a true story.
Brilliant.
We use pencils. So your pencils and your sharpeners... oh, what the hell, it's Friday. And your stories about pens. 08459 455 555. Be with you after a bit of Morrissey, just.
Yeah, thank you.
Ta-ta. And your 3-year-old was singing this last night.
Yeah, she's very sick.
What are we doing to our children?
Educating that kid.
Yesterday, my 3-year-old was bouncing around to the best of Alan Price. And then he kept stopping it to just need to clean the record again, Daddy. Well, I mean...
I told you about my youngest coming back from preschool saying, my friend Rosa likes One Direction. I told her I like the Small Faces.
There we go, boys and girls.
Win.
There we go. Hey, we got our first call about pencils. Good morning, April.
Good morning.
What have you got for us this morning, please?
Sharpeners.
Yay! I have to ask the question, I'm afraid. Pencils or sharpeners?
It's definitely sharpeners. In fact, I actually keep a sharpener in my handbag because you know when you go to those public houses and they get the kids drawing and then they give you a glass full of pencils, but they're always blunt or broken.
I don't take my children to pubs. I take them to Pizza Express, where you get crayons. So you take yours to sharpen colouring-in pencils for the children. You carry it around. I bet you're not allowed to take a sharpener on an aeroplane. Thanks a lot, Al Qaeda.
Actually, it's in my handbag, and I didn't take it out when I went to Lanzarote.
Because you could unscrew that. I don't want to give IS any ideas.
I thought you were suggesting putting people's little fingers in and turning them around.
Well, that's one way of doing it. Did you ever do that? Did you ever try and sharpen your finger?
Of course I did.
Of course. April, thank you for that. Do you want to say hello to Justin?
Yeah, okay. Hello, Justin.
Oh, wow.
Hey.
Oh, what's the
There's
big
history. What's going on?
I'll tell you what, right? Here's Justin's challenge. Not just to speak to the Morris men, but to put on the bells and dance with the hanky.
That's a great original challenge, April.
Oh, no. Hey, listen. What is going on between you two? Why the beef?
I don't get it. April, what's going on?
He's too tall.
Thank you very much indeed, April. He is too tall.
Boss.
Yes, Justin.
The streets this morning are very firm. Very, very firm with their answers. Listen to this. Pencils or sharpeners?
Sharpeners. Sharpeners.
Very, very firm with their answers.
Wowzers, we'll get that in a second. We should do this story, really, I suppose. This is an incredible story. Schools are increasingly being called upon to feed, wash and clothe pupils. The feeding I'd heard before, you know, they have breakfast clubs and things like that, but washing and clothing them? That's according to research from the National Association of Head Teachers, who say the current economic climate has forced them to extend their duties well beyond reading, writing and arithmetic. Justin, this is incredible, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, more than 2,000 heads took part in this survey. 84% of them said that they're providing more support than they did 5 years ago. So the type of things that schools are having to do are things like providing items of school uniform, providing food, and that's other than free school meals like breakfast clubs, treating pupils for head lice, giving outings for children who have diminished exposure to community events.
And here are these last two are the ones that really knocked me for six.
Providing washing facilities of clothes and also providing showering facilities for children. And all this, of course, it amounts to schools having to find more than £43 million every year to pay for the work they do.
One of the schools is local, isn't it? There were several schools local, but one of them is Water Primary in Milton Keynes.
Yeah, I mean, later you're going to be talking to the head teacher there, Tony Draper, who happens to be the head of the National Association of Head Teachers. Now, he's warned schools, and this is quite some quote, he's warning they are becoming like an A&E department of communities, often being the first and last point of contact for many families. So the school is increasingly helping parents who are struggling with financial or housing issues and some who cannot provide enough for their families. So again, he'll be on the programme later to explain a bit more to you.
And what's being blamed for the situation?
Well, again, this survey, more than 4 in 5 heads believe that a change in the financial circumstances of families, that is to blame.
Okay,
so all comes down to money.
We'll speak to you in a bit. I do. Pencils and sharpeners, by the way. 08459 455 555. As you know, we raided, Catherine and I, the rat-infested Mark Travis fuelled basement last night and yesterday, and we stole some more records. We liberated some records that will only be destroyed.
It's true.
It's like puppies that can be put down. We rescued them.
Yeah.
And it's quite 80s. I have got 7 in front of me, Justin, and I'm going to let you pick, right?
Okay.
Belinda Carlisle, Leave a Light On for Me.
Oh.
These are all classics.
Yes.
The Communards, Don't Leave Me This Way.
Move on. Rubbish cover.
Tears for Fears, Sowing the Seeds of Love.
Too long.
He's right, it's 5:36.
Long.
Tiffany, I think we're alone now.
Not a poor cover.
Jane Weedlin, Rush Hour.
It's a belter.
Yeah, that's quite good, yep.
Martika, Toy Soldiers.
Slow.
Baby, yeah.
It's slow though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Fleetwood Mac, Seven Wonders.
I am going to go for option number 1, Belinda Carlisle, because when I was younger, I used to fancy her.
Oh, and now I'm older, I still fancy her, and there's more of a chance. Thank you, Just.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's been an accident on the M40 northbound at junction 1A for the M25, but it's a serious accident between a lorry and a car, so the 2 lanes are closed there, which could cause some delays starting to queue. In Chalfont St Giles on Bowstridge Lane, that's closed in both directions between the High Street and Narcott Lane still, and looking at the speed sensors in High Wycombe, it's still looking quiet. There are roadworks going on though on Marlow Hill near the Leisure Centre just before Marlow Road, which could cause some delays later on this morning. On southern trains, there are delays between Watford Junction and Balham of around half an hour because of some problems with the trains and the rails. And on the 6:22 train from Bedford to Sutton, that's been cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Doorbell. Oh, no, doorbells are not. Pencils or sharpeners, and your stories about pens, pencils, and sharpeners. 08459 4555. You've only got 30 minutes to answer those questions, please.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 6:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have appeared in the last TV event before the election. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford boss Slavisa Jokanovic has been named the Championship Manager of the Month for April, following the Hornets' promotion to the Premier League. Milton Keynes Dons boss Carl Robinson is the League One Manager of the Month. Watford will clinch the Championship title if they beat Sheffield Wednesday at Vicarage Road tomorrow lunchtime. Captain Troy Deeney says promotion is his way of thanking the club who stood by him when he was jailed.
When I was obviously away for a little while, they didn't have to keep me, but they chose to. I had the chance to leave on numerous occasions, so I thought reciprocate, really. They looked after me and I can kind of look after them in the sense that I don't have to force a move for less money than they wanted. So unless someone come up with a figure that they wanted, I was going nowhere.
In League Two, Gareth Ainsworth's Wycombe must win at Northampton to have any chance of securing automatic promotion.
There is a fairy tale still that could be written. I'm being a bit greedy asking for 2 in 2 years, but if we do our part in Northampton, you never know what's going to happen elsewhere. So it's something that I still do believe.
Luton hosts Stevenage, with Stevenage already in the playoffs and John Still's Luton needing a mathematical miracle to overtake Plymouth.
I want to try and be entertaining and attacking and, come off winning or losing, where everyone looks at it and go, you know what, we had to get that amount of goals, we tried, we've had an attack, we've got at it, we've done this, hasn't quite worked. And it's fantastic, it has worked, that's because we had a goal.
And Milton Keynes Dons host Yeovil on Sunday as they look to overtake Preston for automatic promotion from League One. In cricket, England have an injury doubt over all-rounder Ben Stokes ahead of the third test against the West Indies, which starts in Barbados this afternoon. And in Speedway's Premier League last night, Rye House lost 47-43 at Redcar. BBC Three Counties News and Sports. The next full bulletin is at 7.
Take my hand, tell me
doorbells.
It's okay if I little squirrel today. Never.
Wait.
Don't talk to me about monkeys.
I think it's just gone politically correct.
The listeners to this hour, the listeners who come with us down the rabbit hole are so good. Matthew on Twitter. We got 23 minutes and... You missed the phone in there. Who did you leave a light on for? Oh, boom! Come on!
Do you mean metaphorically or...?
It don't matter. It don't matter. That's a good one, isn't it, Kels?
That is a great
That is brilliant. Let's see, is Biggers' contribution going to be as good as that?
Nope.
Harsh, but probably fair, Biggers.
Hello, mate. How you doing?
I'm all right, thank you. I'm feeling the vibe is strong with this one, man. It's a strong
I'm loving
vibe.
your show this morning.
Yeah, well, do you know what I'm tempted to declare the first hour an independent state.
Yes.
Just completely independent from the BBC, from Three Counties Radio, even from us. And we hang on a second. We put a sail on it and we sail it around the world. That's the plan. That's the plan. I don't quite know how we're going to do that, as it's actually a concept as opposed to a boat. But never mind. Biggers, what have you got for us?
What about Theme Tune Fridays, mate? Every Friday you play a theme tune from a TV show or a film?
What's the polite way of ending this?
Just cut him off.
Okay, fine. Yeah, lovely.
Let's
Thank you.
pretend he didn't say it.
By the way, here's Carol has tweeted us, and this is another phone in. I met Paul Scoynes in person at the mayoral debate last night. When have you ever met Paul Scoynes? 08459 455 555 in person.
Yep.
I have never met Paul Scoynes in person, and I'm hoping that day will come one day. Morning, Molly. You right?
Good. I'm good.
Molly's helping us out today. I put that in inverted commas because, I'll be honest, I'm not seeing much help. What other shows have you worked on at BBC Three Counties Radio?
So I've worked on JVS. I've worked on Kitchen, which was great.
We have a show
Ate
called
loads
Kitchen?
of food all day.
Oh,
Yeah.
Nick Coffer's show.
Nick Coffer's show.
Yeah,
that was fun. JVS, Nick's afternoon show, and
all right.
today.
All right, you love Nick. All right, we get the idea. All right. If you love him so much, why don't you consider courting him and persuading him to marry? Which has been
I will.
Maybe. Then maybe. Fine. Who's been the biggest idiot to work with?
You've asked me that already this morning.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna tell you. I'm not giving in.
I'm going to look. Is it JVS?
No.
Is it Nick Coffer?
No.
She looked away on both. She's saying they're both idiots.
No, I'm not.
Molly, well, listen.
telling you anything. I'm not giving in.
Yeah, excellent stuff. Well, I'm hoping that this show doesn't put you off wanting to work in radio.
She's sitting in my chair already.
Oh, wow, me out. Oh, I tell you what I've got. We'll do a story in a second. I tell you what I've actually got today. Got one of them. Got one of them.
Go on.
You can play this, Molly. We give out the headline, and you have to tell us what the story is.
Okay.
We'll let the others go first, so you get the idea. You may have seen this, Catherine, because you looked at the Sun today, which is naughty. Kelly, we're going to start with you.
Okay.
Half-cocked.
Oh, no, I don't know this.
Half-cocked. What's the story, Kelly? Half-cocked.
Carefully now.
Bearing in mind the number of complaints we had for the show earlier in the week with Everjoy. Half-cocked.
Okay. It's about a chicken,
Okay.
and it was Siamese chicken. They had to.
Siamese chicken?
Yes, they had
okay.
to.
Okay.
A conjoined chicken.
It's the safest thing that I can think of.
We're going to move on. Molly, half-cocked.
I don't think I can add much to that. I have absolutely no idea.
Absolutely no idea. Catherine? Half-cocked.
Right.
Half-cocked.
You know, sometimes you can't manage a full pint.
Yeah, oh,
You might go
yes.
for a half pint.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
And, gosh, how am I going to retrieve this? I
could have gone for the one above. Erection is illegal, but I've decided to go for half-cocked.
So it's about half a pint that was ruined by putting too much foamy head on the top.
No, cocked often refers to guns, doesn't it?
Yeah.
And cock often refers to, anyway, a bandit shot himself in the testicles fleeing a robbery in Oregon, US.
Wow.
He was literally half-cocked.
Wow.
That's got a smart, hasn't it?
Yeah, that's going to stick.
Guys, Joe says, I once saw Paul Daniels in a toy shop with his mum. Which celebs have you seen out with their mum? I would say, which celebs have you seen in toy shops? 08459 455 555.
None.
You've never seen a celebrity in a toy shop?
No, I don't.
You've been in a toy shop with me. This guy.
Yeah, so no.
Yeah, OK, Kels, I was going to steal that, as I normally do with your ideas. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to let her have the credit for this. What did you just type on my screen?
What Pauls have you seen?
What Pauls have you seen? I've seen... OK, let's go through it. I've seen Weller.
Oh, yeah, I got in his way once.
Yeah. I walked past him on a barge. What Pauls are you seeing? Catherine pulled a face then, I think, because she's not seen anything.
That's because the apostrophe was in the wrong place. It was... Plurals don't need one. Unless you're talking about Pauls.
What Pauls have you seen, mate? Stop stalling and start talking.
Scoins, skulls, and... No, that's it.
It's Paul Kay's a Paul, isn't he?
Yeah, Paul.
I've seen Paul Kay.
I went to school with someone called Paul Cunliffe. True.
Half-cocked. What have you got in the papers, my darling?
You know you don't trust twins.
I do not trust twins, and I got so much abuse on this show because of my quite rightful hatred for twins.
You know why? Because you work with two women who are the product of a twin sister.
What does that even mean?
Our mums are both twins, not with each other, but with someone else, with their twins.
We're brothers from another mother.
Twin sisters who use their matching looks to confuse security guards during
matching looks. Yeah. Hey, you know your two twins? Are they matching look? No, they look different. Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, my mum's not a matching pair. Twin sisters who use their matching looks to confuse security guards during shoplifting sprees have both been jailed. That's an escalation from swapping classrooms, isn't it? I mean, I would have always swapped classes, but never. Penelope and Constance Harris. Oh, posh twins. 25.
Yes.
Doesn't say which one's 25. Carried out a string of thefts in which they dressed in the same clothes to trick staff and make off with trolley loads of food and booze.
Beautiful.
As part of their scam, one of the sisters would take a trolley to the checkout and pay, while the other would walk out with another trolley packed full of stolen goods.
Stolen?
Stolen.
Packed full of stolen? Oh, I hate stolen.
I think we know which supermarket they're in.
It's too heavy, stolen.
I don't think I've ever had it.
Stolen isn't that the pink and yellow cake?
I don't know what colour it is. I've never cracked one open.
Stollen is like a rectangular cake, and you cut it open, and it's pink, yellow, pink.
No, that's Battenberg.
Oh, well, what's Stollen then?
It's like a...
very heavy.
It's more of a heavy sponge.
Yeah. Tell us your Stollen stories.
I'm imagining it's gingerish. Is it got ginger in it?
Give us a call now, your Stollen stories.
Anyway.
0459. Your Stollen stories.
She TV were confused.
Yes.
They do look fair play. They're definitely twins.
Fair play. And you shouldn't say this about people, because it's not... We don't judge people on the way they look, but they are ugly. That's the problem with twins.
Criminality makes you ugly.
Scott's got a great phone. Everyone's coming up with great phone. OK, this is the phone in today.
Go on.
What's your phone in? 08459 455 555. That's brilliant.
Yeah.
And then we don't pursue the phone in. But what's your phone in? Scott's is, my friend Chris used to work in Hamleys and Michael Jackson came in. But it was Chris's day off.
Oh.
Yeah, when have you missed Michael Jackson? 08459.
I miss
him every day.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M40 northbound, it's blocked now because of the accident at junction 1A for the M25, and it's causing delays from the Denham roundabouts. In Chelfont St Giles on Bowstridge Lane, that's been closed in both directions between the High Street and Northcote Lane at Chelfont St Giles because of a fire that started yesterday. In Biddenham on the Bromham Road, that's looking fine at the moment at the Branston Way towards the Paula Radcliffe Way, but that's where the roadworks are, so that could get busy later on. And Southern trains have half-hour delays between Watford Junction and Balham because the rails damaged some of the trains yesterday, so the trains aren't in the right places. The 6:47 train from Luton to Sutton is also cancelled. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you very much indeed. We'll do the texts in a minute. 81333, start your text 3CR. An update on that Michael Jackson Hamleys story. And Tuesday, but not Monday because it's a bank holiday, but Tuesday, the first hour, the question will be, what's your phone in? Call me now. Right now, though, it's 6:46 and it's Friday, the 1st of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. It certainly is a very chilly start today across the 3 counties. We've got temperatures between 1 and 3 degrees typically at the moment, but rising nicely in the sunshine. There will be some of that around today. It will be quite hazy at times, though, with plenty of high cloud, but it will stay dry today. A slightly cooler day than we saw yesterday, particularly towards eastern areas of Hertfordshire. We've got the wind coming in from the east, you see, and temperatures won't be as high. We're still looking at 12 or 13 Celsius, though. That's 55 in Fahrenheit, and there will be some good spells of hazy sunshine around today as well. A little bit of medium level cloud at times too. So bright rather than brilliantly sunny through the course of the day. Now overnight tonight it's going to be dry. It'll be quite chilly again, lows of around 3 or 4 degrees. And as we start the day tomorrow, it'll be dry, but it'll be cloudy and it'll be quite breezy as well. Now it should stay dry until we get to the late afternoon tomorrow. Then we'll start to get the rain feeding in from the southwest, and the rain will stay with us through Saturday late afternoon into the evening, the night, and for much of Sunday morning too. But then a nice dry period through the middle part of the day on Sunday. Very usable weather, shall we say. Probably be quite cloudy, but the temperatures will start to creep up. 15 or 16 degrees by the time we get to Sunday. Lots of dry weather through the day. Possibly will end the day on a wet note again. There'll probably be some showers around on Monday, but there will be some spells of sunshine too. And because it will feel quite mild, 16 or 17 degrees where we do get the spells of sunshine, then it will feel quite nice, I dare say. So probably not a total washout this bank holiday weekend, but there will be some wet weather at times. You can check the website for more details. That's the forecast.
Sometimes in life, things don't always go to plan.
It worked perfectly for 2.5, 3 years till 2 days ago.
He should refund me £1,900.
Which is where we come in.
We managed to get them to agree to come back in to the property on an agreed date.
The JVS show takes on your consumer problems.
I've basically lost the whole lot in administration charges.
And helps to get to the right solution.
I've received a cheque back for £578.
Jonathan, I can't thank you enough. I don't know how you do what you do, you and your team.
The JVS show, weekdays from 9. Here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Did you hear the consumer hour? Yes, I need to speak to. Remind me to speak to him.
Yeah.
Did you hear the really grumpy fella?
That's Jonathan. Oh, the other one.
Graham.
Morning.
Morning, Graham. Do you listen to the consumer hour on JVS's show?
No, I don't.
Oh. May I ask why?
Normally working, mate.
Okay. Honestly, it's one of my favourite hours of radio on the way. I love it. And there was this really grumpy bloke, right?
What was his beef?
It was to do with the holiday.
Oh, yeah, I did hear that. And it was like 15 quid a night or something.
No, the hotel was £13 a night. Because he was getting the refund for the hotel. Everyone was thinking, right, nice, he's in for about £200-300 here.
Because it was a £900 holiday.
And Tim got the email live on the air, and he said, right, well, they're going to pay you £50. Hang on, that works out at £13 a night. And the hotel was £13 a night. Yeah, the manager of the hotel had gone to smack this bloke in the face, and they chucked all of their luggage outside. But you kind of expect that for... You'd expect that for £13 a night, wouldn't you, Graham?
I certainly would, yeah.
If I didn't get offered a fight by the manager for £13 a night, I'd be demanding a refund.
But it was in Marrakesh, so does that, is that expensive for Marrakesh?
You can live on £15 for a whole 5 years. That will feed a family and buy you a mansion over there. Graham, pencils or sharpeners?
Sharpeners.
Tell us what you've called in about.
My lad, when he was younger, you know the one you want to beat up who was 11?
Oh, the Karate Kid?
Yeah.
When's it happening, mate? I've been waiting every day for him.
But when he said when he get a car, he'll drive down in a little.
Well, then he'll be 16, 17. I don't want to fight a 17-year-old. I'll be 50 then.
When he was a toddler.
Yes.
About 18 months, 2 years old. Yeah, he was on the bed. You know them jumbo pencils.
Oh yeah, the giant ones you get them from zoos.
Yeah, fun times.
Yeah, sort of like that. He was jumping up and down on the bed and fell off the bed and he stuck it into his temple.
Oh! Flip it. How deep did it go in his temple, his Shirley?
About half an inch, maybe.
Listen,
Still got the scar and everything.
Ian, the fact that he survived suggests this kid is double hard. You do not want to be messing with him.
Graham, listen, thank you very much for that. Justin. Oh, Justin, where are you, mate? Justin's gone. We seem to have lost Justin Dealey. Dan mentions the giant novelty pencils as well, with the tassels on the end. You only get them in zoo gift shops. Have you ever seen anybody use them to write with? Impossible. Justin, you're right, fella.
Ouch story.
Ouch, indeed. Ouch, indeed. On Tuesday's show, the question in the first hour is going to be, what's your phone in question?
I've got a funny thing. A lot of people will have a lot of suggestions.
I'm sure they will. I'm sure they will. What, you've taken pencils or sharpeners to the streets today, Just?
Yeah, the big question for the first hour. Some interesting answers here. Here's what the streets had to say. Pencils or sharpeners?
Pencils.
Can I ask why?
You can do more with a pencil.
Do you always carry a pencil with you?
No.
Do you always carry a pen with you?
Yes.
Is it a special pen?
Yes.
Why is it special?
Because I bought it in Harrods.
Yeah, good question. It's a good question. We're looking for a good Polish answer. Pencils or sharpeners?
Pencils or sharpeners?
Yeah.
Pencils
Can I ask why?
sharpeners.
Oh my God. It just
feels right. Okay, we'll take it. Thank you, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, pencils, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Great answers, Justin.
Absolutely.
That Polish pencils or sharpeners. That was great. He's great. Derek's emailed in.
What's he saying?
I think Justin should present the show in the first hour on Fridays.
No, it's all right, mate.
He wouldn't put his name to this full time.
With music he plays on his Saturday programme. School's Out. It's not called School's Out anymore. It's been called that for ages, has it?
No, what would it's got to be called, well, Justin Dealey, and that's it. Some brainwave from BBC management said, no, we can't call it School's Out, we're going to call it Justin Dealey.
Well, I'm glad that branding caught on, because Derek's really got hold of it.
Justin, where are you off to? And if people want to come and see you shaking your bells, they can.
Hey, listen, I'm going to be in Ampthill Park to start with.
Yep.
Then I'm going to the pub with the Morris Dancers for breakfast. And we've got a very special one this morning. It's a Morris Dancers perspective. The question you're going to give me better be good, because these guys, they deserve respect.
Good. I'll come up with something.
Okay.
Cheers. Speak to you later, Just.
Thank you.
Thank you, mate. Tom's on the line. Morning, Tom.
Morning, Lee. Justin, sorry.
No, it's Ian.
Ian, sorry.
That's all right, Tom. No, don't worry, mate. What you got for us?
Well, you asked what Paul had you met?
Yes.
I worked on stage with Paul McKenna.
Oh, I've met Paul McKenna. Gave me my first break in television. What did you do with McKenna?
Well, he asked the whole audience to stand up and to close their eyes and do something. And
do what?
You don't know.
We had to stand there and hold our arms out.
You have to clasp your hands together.
And those who were in the right position were asked to come up on stage if they wanted to take part. And there must have been about 150 of us up there. And he went through a process.
So when you say you were hypnotised by him, were you?
Yes, I was.
And what did you end up doing, Tom?
Mick Jagger, school children.
Oh, dear. Well,
and
Tom,
every time music came on, I kind of was strutting around, doing one of his songs.
He's a nice fella, isn't he, McKenna?
Yes, he is.
Tom, thank you, mate.
Someone I know is staring at me.
the Michael terrible Michael Jackson story. Not that one, no. Scott tweeted his friend Chris used to work in Hamleys. Michael Jackson came in, but it was off that day, right? But then Chris has tweeted, that's true, although I did sell some stuff to Scott Bakula, though. Quantum Leap. Oh, boy, oh, boy, oh, boy.
I think it's better.
I think that's better in many ways. We've got a great thing for Justin to talk about. We'll tell you in a minute.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The M14 northbound has 2 lanes closed because of a serious accident at junction 1A for the M25, and it's causing delays northbound from the Denham roundabout. On the M25, it's slow anti-clockwise from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40. And it's also looking busy now on the North Orbital Road at the M25 junction 21A roundabouts. Looking at the speed sensors in Watford, and Exchange Road is looking slow at Beach and Grove, and on the trains, Southern have delays of half an hour between Watford Junction and Balham. That's because a problem with the track has damaged a number of the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. So, Terry Wogan, he's what, 74? He's got a new television show.
76.
Is he too old? I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not going to tell you my thoughts on that. Is Terry Wogan too old? Oh, by the way, guys, it's time to climb out of the rabbit hole. Don't mention the last 60 minutes, all right?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 7 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: 3 investigations at Bedford Immigration Centre. Miliband rules out deal with SNP. And former Luton boxing champion jailed for role in drugs gang.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The most recent inquiry involves the suspension of a custody officer for allegedly using excessive force to disperse a protest. More from Tony Fisher.
Detainees claim the guard used the edge of his riot shield to hit them on their legs and feet. CCTV footage of the incident has caused prison inspectors considerable concern. A detainee who collapsed and died at the centre's family unit is the subject of another inquiry, and 2 staff members are being investigated following allegations of abuse.
The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have appeared in the last TV event before the election. The main focus was on possible coalitions, as Norman Smith reports.
David Cameron, pressed over possible cuts to child benefit, repeatedly refused to spell out his plans. And on Europe, he warned an EU referendum would be a red line issue in any future coalition negotiations. Ed Miliband, meanwhile, said he would not do a deal with the SNP, even if that meant Labour would not be able to form a government. While Nick Clegg insisted he was proud of his decision to form a coalition with the Conservatives, even though he acknowledged his party had paid a price.
A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. Tony Draper from Waterhall Primary School, who's also head of the National Association of Head Teachers, says schools are having to find more than £43 million every year to pay for this. Russell Hobby is the union's General Secretary.
70% of the schools said they were now providing mental health care services that were once provided by the local authority. We should be really glad that they're doing that, and we should have admiration for teachers who are willing to step in. But you also have to say there are services and there are professionals who are trained to do this. We must fund them properly.
The Red Cross says towns near the epicentre of Saturday's earthquake in Nepal have suffered almost total devastation. More than 6,000 people are known to have died. A former world boxing champion from Luton is beginning 7 years in prison for supplying drugs. Graham Earl was part of a gang of dealers operating in Hitchin and Letchworth. More from Barry Caffrey.
Earl, who once held the WBU lightweight title and fought Amir Khan, had his last fight in 2014 when he came out of retirement. But the 36-year-old from Talbot Way in Luton was part of a 6-strong gang which supplied cocaine and cannabis and sold it on the streets. The leader of the gang, Christopher Collins from Paynes Park in Hitchin, was jailed for 12 years, while another boxer, 26-year-old Amador Rahman from Jessup Road in Stevenage, was jailed jailed for 4 years.
In sport, Watford boss Slavisa Jokanovic has been named the Championship Manager of the Month for April, following the Hornets' promotion to the Premier League. Milton Keynes Dons boss Carl Robinson is the League One Manager of the Month. The weather, a chilly start, then a dry, fine day with plenty of sunshine, a maximum temperature 12 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/3 counties.
Thank you, Simon. Shh, don't mention the last hour. If you've just tuned in, guys. Anyway, coming up in this hour... Well, is Terry Wogan too old at 76 to present a television show? Oh, 8459 455 555. And if you've ever been a Morris dancer, Morris, why? It's when people talk about what does being English mean, the only thing I can think of is Morris dancing. That's it. That's what being English means, isn't it? Wearing kind of big puffy shirts and bells and those weird balloons. 08459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
You can text as well, 81333. Start your text 3CR. Now, Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford is currently subject to 3, count 'em, separate investigations, all launched in the space of just over a month. The most recent inquiry involves the suspension of a custody officer for allegedly using excessive force to disperse a protest. Another case involves a detainee who collapsed and died at the centre's family unit, and 2 other staff members have been suspended following allegations of abuse. Well, Usman Noor is the lawyer representing some of the detainees involved in the most recent case. Usman, what's your understanding of what happened during this protest?
Well, to begin with, there was approximately 20 detainees who sat in order to attempt to resist the removal of another detainee, a Kenyan lady who was due to be removed that day. Serco officer came into the room and said to the detainees that they must leave or else they may face implications for their own immigration statuses. Some of the detainees left. Approximately 8 remained. The Serco officers then called in 40 riot officers who holding riot shields, who had helmets, and essentially barged their way through in order to get to that detainee who was due to be removed, barging their way through for 2 of the detainees involved being hit with the riot shield on their feet and ankles. And afterwards, the 8 detainees were taken to segregation units where they were held in what is essentially solitary confinement. As a way of, I suppose, punishing.
For how long were they held in what you're calling solitary confinement?
Well, for a full day, they didn't see any medical attention. Some of them were released after a day. Another was released after 2 days. And the 2 who were considered to be the most prominent members of that protest, who were in fact the 2 that were hit, actually were never removed from solitary confinement. A full 10 days later, both of those 2 were told that they were going to be transferred to prison. Luckily, one of them was actually released on bail, and the other was in fact removed to HMP Holloway in London.
Why were they trying to stop the woman from being removed and deported?
It was essentially an act of solidarity.
But if she's meant to be deported, she's meant to be deported, isn't she? She can't stay here if she's not meant to stay here.
Well, you see, the lady who was going to be removed, I should say, because deported implies that she was a criminal offender. She was going to be removed, was a failed asylum seeker.
OK, so she's not meant to be here legally, so they had no right to stop her, to try and prevent her removal. Deportation means being deported from the country. I'm assuming that's what was happening.
They have the right to a peaceful protest. They sat in, they sang songs. There were other ways of getting through those ladies. They did not need to bring in 40 riot officers with helmets and shields, and they did not need to hit them. So that is essentially the case. There was an excessive use of force.
I don't understand, and we'll get on to because what you're saying is it contradicts what Yarlswood is saying, and we'll get to their statement in a second. But I don't understand, if the woman was supposed to be deported, and when she's been through the illegal process, she was a failed asylum seeker, well, then they had every right to take her out, didn't they?
Well, in fact, the lady hasn't actually been removed. An injunction was put in place to stop that in the end.
Was that before or after they attempted to remove her?
About the same time.
OK, so in their mind, they were doing what they had been told to do, that this woman was being deported?
Well, there were sitting in. Let's not suggest that they were resisting the removal in any other way other than sitting on the floor.
So you're saying if the guards had gone in, I'm just trying to get an image of this, Usman. I just want to, investigate this whole story because obviously you've got their side and we've got the Serco side. So you're saying that if those guards had gone in and tried to peacefully escort this woman out to be removed, then the protesters would have allowed that to happen?
Well, there's an issue of proportionality. Clearly, the officers have instructions to remove the Kenyan lady, and they have to do their job. Now, it's an issue of how they go about doing that. Is it right for them to then call in? Now, let's be clear. There's 8 ladies who are all vulnerable.
Well, is it right? But is it right for those women to prevent the guards from doing their job?
It's their right to protest.
Well, and then it's the right to deport somebody who has failed their asylum test and is to be deported, isn't it?
Well, as I said, the guards have instructions to remove someone. They have to do their job. It's the right of the people in the detention centre to peacefully protest.
But if that protest prevents the guards from deporting someone who at that time was due to be deported, well, where does that leave us, Usman? We have people complaining that we have too many people over here who shouldn't be here. At that moment, that woman was not supposed to be here, and yet they were being prevented from removing her.
Yes, but there's a question of how they go about doing that. Is it correct? Now, let's be clear. The 8 people who were sitting in, one of them's a victim of torture. One of them they knew had actual HIV/AIDS.
With the greatest respect, that's irrelevant. They were preventing
No, it's not.
No, it is, Usman, because it is irrelevant. Their background is irrelevant. We all know that there's a lot of those women in there are very troubled. But that woman was due to be deported, and they were preventing the guards from deporting that woman.
Yes, but there's a question of how they execute the removal. Now, what I'm saying is for 8 people, some of them who have, as you said, serious medical complications, is it correct for 40 riot officers with helmets with shields to actually use force to barge their way through 8 detained ladies and actually cause some of them to be bruised and then put them in segregation units separately afterwards and then make 2 of them subject to transfer to prison orders? That's what we're protesting about now. That's the question. We see that there's a complication.
Yeah.
They are peacefully protesting, and at the same
according to what they've told you.
Now the officers have.
Were they armed with cutlery?
Absolutely not. That's a justification that's been imposed to justify the use of force.
What evidence do you have?
Well, the Serco evidence is that. I have statements from the detained ladies.
Have you seen the video?
And I've sought disclosure of the video, and it hasn't been.
So you haven't seen the video. So you can't say, Usman, 100% that they didn't have cutlery.
Well, I can say this. My clients have said that they don't. Now, it doesn't stack up. It doesn't stack up because I've also seen the notice that was given to the detained ladies by the Serco guards. They don't mention cutlery in those notices. The mention of cutlery comes a lot later. Secondly, the Serco statement seems to suggest that for several hours that there were officers in the room before the riot officers came in. How can it be that for several hours they're in the room and they don't notice cutlery, and yet somehow later on, days later, they start mentioning cutlery?
What are the chances of you getting a copy of the videos? Because there's CCTV, isn't there? And there's handheld video as well.
A judicial review has been lodged against the decision to transfer my client to HMP Holloway. As part of that judicial review, we're seeking disclosure of the videotape footage, and it will be whether or not the Treasury solicitors on behalf of the Secretary of State are going to disclose it to me.
Let me put some of... Because the Serco statement, unsurprisingly, Usman, disagrees with you. You say there were 40 officers involved. The Serco say that there were 8 officers involved, I think.
It's a big disparity.
Let me see what else it says here. It's unfortunate. After several hours trying to persuade the residents to disperse voluntarily, the decision was taken to forcibly remove them. A number of staff had to be involved, and it's a tribute to the staff at Yarlswood that when they did intervene, the incident was rapidly resolved.
Rapidly for them, perhaps, but we've got my clients, who were kept in segregation units for 10 days. Is that rapid?
And the only injury was a mild bruise to a resident's ankle.
2 of my clients had injuries. One of them sufficiently for her to be taken to hospital.
What were the injuries, Usman?
Well, there were bruises. They were not long-term injuries, but there were evidence of the use of force.
An HMIP are concerned about the actions of one of these guards, haven't they? They suggest that one guard may have perhaps used his shield in an inappropriate way.
May have perhaps, or did. We've got bruises on the ankles and legs of 2 detained ladies.
But until... And Elizabeth, I really appreciate this robust questioning. I think it's important that we do question both sides of this robustly because, Yarlswood is a very important place and does come under a lot of flack, and it's important we find out exactly what happened. Until you see that video, Usman, you don't know how those bruises were sustained, do you? You have what your clients have said, but obviously your clients are going to say one thing and the guards are going to say another, aren't they?
Well, we've got consistent statements from several of the detained ladies saying the exact same thing.
And would they have had a chance to spoken to each other before they spoke to you?
Well, of course, yes.
Okay, well, but you see what I'm saying, don't you, Usman?
The officer's been suspended. One assumes that you don't get suspended without some form of credible evidence.
Well, yeah, but you get suspended for pending an investigation, don't you?
Well, not necessarily. Depends upon not every time a complaint gets made does an officer get suspended.
It's all about fair trials, isn't it? You get suspended. I'm assuming it's pending an investigation.
No, but not.
Has he been suspended pending an investigation?
But the fact that
has he been suspended pending an investigation?
Yes, but the fact that he's been suspended pending an investigation suggests that there's sufficient evidence.
No, it doesn't.
To deem it.
I don't think it does. I don't think it does, Usman.
Not every time a complaint gets made does an officer get suspended until the resolution of that complaint.
But you're finding guilty, you're innocent until proven guilty. You're judging this man guilty already, and an investigation hasn't been made.
I'm not judging.
Well, no, you are. You've just said, Usman, that you believe that he did this because he's been suspended. Well, that doesn't mean that at all.
My clients, all of whom giving consistent statements,
who've had the chance to confer
by the fact that they have bruises, by the fact that they were taken to hospital, by the fact that the officer has been suspended because.
Usman, we can jump to
the assumption.
Usman, you've jumped to the assumption that the gentleman has been suspended because he did something wrong. You're also jumping to the assumption that because the women went to hospital, a guard must have done something wrong. It doesn't. That you can't draw those lines.
Look, add up all the evidence. I've got statements from my clients saying.
Add up all the evidence that you've got from your side and ignore the evidence from the other side. Without seeing the CCTV.
Well, I don't think it's Serco's case that this officer didn't use excessive force.
A custody officer has been suspended pending an inquiry.
And
amid claims he used excessive force to break up a protest.
Well, if it's not Serco's case that this person used excessive force, then perhaps we can ask them, why have they suspended him pending this investigation? Because that's an important question, because it's certainly not the case that every time a complaint gets made, that someone is suspended.
No, and also, as you will well know, Usman, it's not every time that someone gets suspended, they are found guilty. Are they?
No.
Well, then, so you can't draw any conclusion from it, Usman.
No, well, what I can tell you is, as I keep saying, we've got the fact that they were injured.
That's a fact. The fact that 2 women were injured, fact. Yes, I'll give you that. They sustained some form of bruising, fact.
Yes. Secondly, we've got fact. At least on my part, I can tell you that there's consistent statements from all the people involved.
Okay, and fact that they had the time to confer and possibly share the same story. Fact.
Okay. Yes. Now, we've got another fact, which is that the videotape footage was sufficiently compelling for Serco to suspend this officer pending the outcome.
Not fact. You haven't seen it. You don't know.
Well, okay.
That's not a fact, Usman. You know that wouldn't stand up as a fact in a court of law.
The officer has been suspended.
Fact. The officer has been suspended.
Yes. So that adds up.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't. You can't... Usman, you know, come on.
Let me finish the sentence. Let me finish the sentence. That adds up to a strong assumption that he did use
and you know what
force.
assume makes out of you and me? Usman, you can't make an assumption in a court of law, and you know that, can't you? You know that.
No, I'll make suggestions.
Okay, you're making suggestions, but the suggestions is not fact.
Well, I'm not a judge. I can make suggestions based on the evidence. Okay. And I've told you what the evidence is. And I'd like to know whether or not Serco actually deny that this officer used his riot shield to barge through these ladies, and used it on their feet and ankles. I don't think it is Serco's case that he didn't. And I'd like to know what their stance is on that.
Oh, and boy, I would love them to come on and withstand such a robust questioning as you have done. But, of course, they have decided not to come on.
Well, There you go.
Usman, I really appreciate your time, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from with this. I'm being impartial, but I just want to.
Absolutely essential to do what you are doing.
Bless you, and
the evidence.
And I'm glad you take it for that. Thank you, Usman. Thank you very much indeed. I'm glad you take it for that. You're a good sport, and it's such an important story that you need. If you need to get to all of the facts, I think it's such an important story, and Yarlswood is such an important place, and it is so divisive. That you need to get to the facts to find out what
There's
happened.
also a lot of emotion involved in it, and we've got to separate that. That's the thing.
I think I should be a lawyer.
Well,
I would love that. You just argue with people.
Well, you have to do some exams first, though.
Not that bothered then. Thank you, Usman.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25 clockwise, there's been an accident in the Holmesdale Tunnel just after junction 25 for Ensfield, so that's causing a lane to be blocked and it's looking really slow. On the M40 northbound, 2 lanes have been closed by an accident at junction 1A for the M25, which is causing delays northbound from the Denham roundabouts. Also looking at the M25, it's slow anti-clockwise from junction 17 for Maple Cross to 16 for the M40. And in Chalfont St Giles, Bowstridge Lane is still closed in both directions between High Street and Narcott Lane at Chalfont St Giles because of a fire that started yesterday. On the trains, Southern have half-hour delays between Watford Junction and Balham because of problems with the track yesterday, which has damaged some of the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much. Be interesting to see if they release that video footage, wouldn't it? 7:19, it's Friday the 1st of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And a former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
It all started right here.
It's a great goal from Luton Town. It's McFadden on his debut as well.
We've been with them all the way.
And Stephen is his first goal of the season. Ainsworth and Dobson just below us give a high five, and that's the Blues 3-1 up.
And now it all comes down to this.
Mattia Mitchell seals the 3 points for Watford.
Tomorrow, Watford will be crowned champions if they beat Sheffield Wednesday in the early kickoff. Then at 3, local rivalry means more than ever as Luton and Stevenage face each other.
Howes with 4 for the season. Dean Tarrant! Right foot shot!
Plus, Wickham travel to Northampton, still searching for automatic promotion.
Paul Hayes has given Wickham the lead here.
Everything will be decided in Three Counties Sport. Tomorrow from midday, here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'm all right, thanks. Pat's in Houghton Regis. Morning, Pat.
Good morning, Ian.
What you got for us, boss?
Well, listening to that questioning of that chap, Osman, is it?
Yeah, the solicitor, yeah.
Yeah,
Osman Noor, lawyer representing some of the detainees.
Is it me or am I just, well, you might agree, plain stupid. The thing is...
Pat, please, don't tell me.
The thing is, with this person who shouldn't be here, we'd expect the people that are in control there to take control and get that person out instead of all this investigation going on. It's our expense is going to be at the end of the day.
But if the accusation is true, and I don't know, that they were aggressive and they used violence when it was unnecessary.
Well, sometimes when you go in to do something, you've got people in front of you. You've got to get through to get them out. Sometimes it cannot be avoided. Surely you can't talk your way through.
Big burly blokes in riot gear with shields against 8 refugee women. When you put it like that, it does sound a little bit one-sided, doesn't it?
You've got a job to do. The job is, if that person's got to go back... No, I'm not saying a bit because it's not been proven, as you said.
No, it's not been proven. But I kind of played a game of fantasy with Usman. Let's play it the other way. Supposing it is true, supposing they were aggressive, supposing they were violent against these women, is that acceptable?
No, that's not acceptable. They need to be sorted out and weeded out. But we get this with the police. When the police arrest someone, all of a sudden you hear there's an investigation going on.
Pat.
And what happens? many of them are found not guilty.
Yeah, but Pat, who does the investigations for the police? It's the police! The police investigating the police! And come on, Pat, we know from history that the police, and I've got a lot of respect for a lot of the police, but the police have done a lot of dodgy jobs in the past, and a lot of... Hillsborough, anyone? The VIP paedophile case, anybody? Cyril Smith, anybody?
I agree with you there, but equally so, there's people that have done a good job on the police as well to get them suspended.
Yep. It's interesting. The thing is, Pat, we're never going to really know, are we? Unless that video gets put out, which I suspect it won't do. We're never really going to know about this case, are we?
Well, we're not going to know about it. All we know is that Osman's going to earn a bit of money out of it.
Well, fair play. If he's defending... I suspect he won't be earning that much out of it. But if he's defending the rights of people, and that's what it boils down to, doesn't it? The rights of people to be safe and secure, then it doesn't matter what that costs, does it? That's a good thing, because that could be you, Pat. That could be you that gets beaten up by a guard or gets beaten up by a policeman, or something happens and everyone says, no, we never hit Pat, we never touched Pat, and you're a lone voice.
Well, they wouldn't do that to me because I'm a fast runner.
Ladies and gentlemen, there you go, you see. When you're in a detention centre, Pat, there's only so many places you can run to. Catherine, I believe you have a text.
Really interesting text here from someone who says they're an ex-prison governor. From your description, Yars would use standard procedures for removal. Staff ratio is 3-to-1 per detainee. For protection of detainees, you have 2 to restrain and 1 to protect the head of the detainee. Shields and helmets are also standard if a decision's taken to remove for the protection of staff. Several hours negotiating first, removal to segregation to prevent further disorder. Sounds standard to me.
Just to remind you, though, ladies and gentlemen, and maybe we should have mentioned this earlier, there are 2 other ongoing investigations into Yarlswood, including a 33-year-old woman who died at the centre's family unit last month, and 2 officers who've been suspended after an undercover report documentary showed them as being racist, sexist, abusive and degrading. And there are other things that have happened in the past at Yarlswood. So, do you know what I mean? It's not... There is a shadow over that place anyway. 08459 455 555 is the phone number. Now, a teaching union says schools are having to take on extra roles of feeding, washing and clothing children. Feeding, washing and clothing children at schools. The National Association of Head Teachers says the help is going to pupils from poor families. Joined now by Tony Draper, who's head of the organisation, also head of Water Hall Primary School in Milton Keynes. Morning, Tony.
Good morning, Ian.
Now, the 3 things that stand out at me, feeding, washing and clothing. The feeding, you're talking differently about breakfast clubs and kind of lunches, aren't you?
Oh, yeah, we're talking very much differently to that. Loads of schools put on breakfast clubs where families can send children along for the club. But we're talking about schools where children are turning up hungry and they've not had any breakfast, or they're turning up late to school and they've not had any breakfast, and we're having to feed them as well.
The washing and the clothing thing, how does that work? Explain what you mean by that, Tony.
Well, lots of schools have laundry facilities now, and they're able to, if children turn up sometimes in a very dishevelled state, they're able to provide a service whereby they can clean the children's clothes for them. I mean, unfortunately, some families don't have that facility at home, and children quite often in some families have to wear the same clothes for weeks on end.
Has that happened in your school?
There are things that have happened in our school where families, due to no fault of their own, have been able to rely on us to feed and clothe their children when they've got into difficulties and not been able to themselves.
I'm really shocked by this, Tony. I'm so glad you brought this to everyone's attention. What are the reasons, do you think? Have you spoken to the families to try and work out what's going on?
Firstly and foremost, this isn't the family's fault. Families are getting into difficulty because of the austerity measures that have been put in place.
Oh, I'm sure there's no parent wants to send their kid to school in dirty clothes they've been wearing for 2 weeks.
Yeah,
it's not
exactly. And what has basically happened is that families are getting into financial difficulties because of the changes in the benefits system. They're getting into financial difficulties because of the bedroom tax, and because of raising rents and benefits not following that.
Now, I have to say, Tony, because we have an election coming up, I don't know if you've noticed, that some people will argue, well, hang on a second, Tony is just making anti-coalition, anti-Tory statement here. It does sound like you're blaming it on the government.
No, what has been happening over the past 5 years has happened as a result of government policy, but that doesn't mean that it wouldn't have happened under a Labour government if they'd have been pursuing the same policies, or a government of any other colour whatsoever. Families are getting into difficulty, and it's in frequent situations, it's not actually the family's fault, it's the circumstances surrounding them.
How does this affect the pupils?
Well, obviously, if pupils are being affected by austerity, by poverty, they're coming in hungry, so their brains are not actively fed, and then a lot of pupils are not in places to begin learning at the start of the day when they get into school, because of things outside of the school's control, and often outside of the family's control as well.
And how does it affect the teachers? I have, I think I may be in a minority, I have a lot of respect for a lot of teachers. But they're teachers. They're there to teach and you know, teach their subjects, and also kind of teach a little bit how to integrate with the world and stuff. They're not there to feed and clothe young people, are they?
Well, that's it. I mean, you've hit the nail on the head. We are teachers. We are trained to educate children. You know, we're not trained in other areas, and other areas have had their services cut, and we're having to step in there. And we use the term, we're turning into the A&E departments of communities. I mean, really, what we found in our survey, if I can just say out here, is that schools currently are funding £43.5 million a year of support that is not really meant for the support that we're putting in. You know, that money should be putting into education, really, not onto finding services and putting things in place to support measures whereby families aren't able to support themselves.
Well, you said that your school's hired a family support worker. Is that right?
Yeah, and she's absolutely brilliant.
And is that coming out of the school purse?
Oh yeah. She signposts families to services that they can get, and to services that they're entitled to as well. Now, you know, she is brilliant, and I wouldn't swap her for anything. But actually, that's not a fundamental role that a school should be playing. You know, we're employing her because other services have been cut, and that's, like I say, totally as a measure of the austerity measures.
Tony, I really appreciate your time this morning. Thank you for talking to us.
Thank you very much, Ian.
Thank you, Tony. Tony Draper, head of the National Association of Head Teachers. Imagine being the head of the National Association of Heads. That's like Don Corleone, isn't it? He's also the head of Waterhall Primary School in Milton Keynes.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M25, there's a lane blocked clockwise just after junction 25 for Enfield in the Holmesdale Tunnel because of a serious accident involving 3 or 4 vehicles. Also on the M40 northbound, it's down to 1 lane at junction 1A for the M25, which is causing queues northbound from the Denham roundabouts. And looking at the speed sensors in Chalfont St Giles on Boystridge Lane, it's slow on both approaches to the High Street and Narcott Lane, where the closure is still in place because of a building fire on Wednesday night. And also on the speed sensors in Dunstable, it's looking quite slow in both directions on the High Street, approaching West Street and Church Street in both ways. On the train, Southern have delays of half an hour between Watford Junction and Balham because of problems with the tracks yesterday that have damaged some of the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
With the headlines, I'm Simon Oxley. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have appeared in the last TV event before the election. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
3 Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford boss Slavisa Jokanovic has been named the Championship Manager of the Month for April following the Hornets' promotion to the Premier League. Milton Keynes Dons boss Carl Robinson is the League One Manager of the Month. Watford will clinch the Championship title if they beat Sheffield Wednesday at Vicarage Road tomorrow lunchtime. Captain Troy Deeney says promotion is his way of thanking the club who stood by him when he was jailed.
When I was obviously away for a little while, they didn't have to keep me, but they chose to. I had the chance to leave on numerous occasions, so I thought reciprocate, really. They looked after me and I can kind of look after them in the sense that I don't have to force a move for less money than they wanted. So unless someone come up with a figure that they wanted, I was going nowhere.
In League Two tomorrow, Gareth Ainsworth's Wickham must win at Northampton to have any chance of securing promotion.
There is a fairy tale still that could be written, I'm being a bit greedy asking for 2 in 2 years, but if we do our part at Northampton, you never know what's going to happen elsewhere. So, it's something that I still do believe.
Luton hosts Stevenage, with Stevenage already in the playoffs. John Still's Luton need a mathematical miracle to overtake Plymouth.
I want to try and be entertaining and attacking and, come off winning or losing, where everyone looks at it and go, you know what, we had to get that amount of goals. We tried, we've had an attack, we've got at it, we've done this. Hasn't quite worked. And it's fantastic, it has worked. That's because we had a go.
And Milton Keynes Dons host Yeovil on Sunday as they look to overtake Preston for automatic promotion from League One. In cricket, England have an injury doubt over all-rounder Ben Stokes ahead of the third test against the West Indies, which starts in Barbados this afternoon. And in Speedway's Premier League last night, Rye House lost 47-43 at Redcar. BBC Three Counties News and Sports. The next full bulletin is at 8.
There's a voice that keeps on calling me. Down the road, it's where I'll always be. Every stop I make a new friend. Can't stay for long, just turn around and I'm gone again. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. Down this road that never seems to end. When new adventure lies just around the bend. So if you want to join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll want to settle down. Until tomorrow, the whole world is my home. So if you want to join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. Maybe tomorrow, I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow, I'll just keep moving on. There's a world that's waiting to unfold, a brand new tale no one has ever told. We've journeyed far, but you know it won't be long. We're almost there and we've paid our fare with a hobo song. Maybe tomorrow I'll wanna settle down. Until tomorrow I'll just keep moving on. So if you wanna join me for a while, just grab your hat, come travel light, that's hobo style. Maybe tomorrow I'll find what I call home. Until tomorrow, you know I'm free to roll.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Well, I mean, I need to lie down after that last 30 minutes. There was feist involved there, wasn't it?
It was frenetic.
It was grown-up, mate. It was grown-up radio, and that's... sorry, it was grown-up radio, and that's all the critics that say this is a child show. That was grown-up radio at its best.
Now what's the phone in?
Ever met a Paul?
Oh dear.
No, the phone in we've got. The thing, Dealey's gone out to speak to Morris dancers. If you've ever Morris danced, I'd love to know why.
Do you know up north?
No.
Morris dancing's really popular for little girls to go and do on a weekend.
Well, the blokes that do Morris dancing up north, they're like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. They are hot.
Mm-hmm.
They get so much flipping action from the ladies. You like that, Kels? You like that one?
Yeah, I thought you were going somewhere else.
Yeah, exactly. They get flipping action from the ladies. Oh, I'm going out with that Morris dancer. What's his name? Morris. What coincidence?
There's a little secret, right?
Yes.
Women can't resist a man who knows how to shake his thang.
Guys, listen, girls love it when you get your bells out and wave them all over the shop.
And if you can clonk your sticks together without getting each other in the face, so much the better.
Or if you get each other in the face. I've got a hanky.
Well, let's see you use it.
Wogan to host a new show at 76. Now, normally, I don't like old people on the... Forsyth, what's he? He's like 89, isn't he?
Yeah, but he's an old 89.
He's too old. He was too old to even be breathing. I'm not suggesting anything, but, you know...
Shh, let's not mention his name.
No, well, Joni Mitchell's hanging on. But the Bruce Forsyth is too old to be on telly. He was back in the day. What a legend! What a legend!
I'm going to say something now that's not going to make me any friends.
She's put her fingers together in an evil way.
In the Bruce Forsyth camp, is not going to make me any friends.
Yeah.
I don't think it's him that's old. I think it's his act.
No, that doesn't matter. The age of an act is irrelevant.
No.
I mean, you look at Tony Blackburn, for crying out loud. I mean, don't look at him. That would be unpleasant.
His act is versatile.
Excuse me? Where's the versatility in Blackburn?
Different record.
Oh, yeah, fair play.
Same jokes as from Forsyth.
No, but Tony Blackburn's act is old, right? Literally old, but it's not aged. And there's a difference. I could listen to Tony Blackburn till the cows go home, and boy, if you're stuck in a room with him, you have to.
Right. So here's Bruce Forsyth's act.
He's not in today, is he?
The 3 stages of Forsyth, right?
Yes.
This is how you do the act.
Yeah.
1, go on, do the special silhouette pose.
Yeah. Never gets old, because you know it's him.
And a little shuffle, maybe a little pretend tap dance.
All right, so Jarvis Cocker does the same thing. Next.
2, stand next to a taller woman and make her spin around.
Well, I mean, I would do that if I had the option, yeah.
3, terrible jokes.
Well, again, we're back to Blackburn. He's not in today, is he? He's old. I don't want to upset him.
You don't need to be scared of him.
I know. I could outrun him. But no. But the thing is, I don't think the age of an act matters. I love that kind of old school Saturday night 1970s variety thing. At least he's got an act.
No.
Ant and Dec. They haven't got an act.
They're
There's
just
no
themselves.
act.
That's the thing. That's what we want these days. We want naturality, naturalism.
Naturality.
Yeah.
Flippin' Ada. We don't. I want an act, and I liked Forsyth's act. He's just too old for it. Wogan's got an act. You don't think he has? He's got an act. Oh, let's see what is going on here with this now? Then
what?
Oh, got me ducks. Oh, what is going on with this now? Then.
No.
He was also, when he was doing the breakfast show, you think we're rude, right? You think Everjoy was rude. The breakfast show with Terry Wogan was filth. Janet and John, and I would listen to that and think, how the hell is he getting away with that? Filth. Oh, what's got to do with it?
Going to... Yeah, there was a lot of... there was.
So I don't think he's... And I don't mind old people on the telly, just not in the same room with me. It's a joke.
What show is it that he's doing?
The Wogan Show.
No, it's not going to be Wogan.
He's going to get a food... it's Terry is teaming up with London taxi driver Mason McQueen for Terry and Mason's food trip.
Who's Mason?
Mason McQueen! Which sees the pair drive... This sounds brilliant. Which sees the pair drive around the country exploring its culinary culture. He said... I'm taking the high road in the back seat of... I'm from Ireland, I'm Terry Wogan. I'm taking the high road in the back seat of Mason's black London cab.
Oh.
As we travel the country, Terry Wogan, meeting the people, seeing the sights.
I'd stop doing the voice.
Wogan can sue you for that, right?
And forcing down the occasional mouthful of food in our fearless pursuit of Epicurean excellence. Let's go to Kenny Everett. Kenny, He had the builder. The tennis player. Let's go to Kenny Everett. The tennis player, Margot Bombay.
What?
Was all excited but itchy downstairs because she had to get new blanks.
Blank or blanks?
Blank or blanks. Kenny Everett's going, ooh. Ooh. I don't want to say it, but it's balls. So that's Terry Wogan. No, I don't think he's too old. What I'd like to see is a show called Wogan and Aspel, right? And it's Terry Wogan and it's Michael Aspel
fighting.
And they live together. They've only got one bed and one set of cutlery.
Yeah.
And one guest to interview. In fact, whenever someone turns up at their flat, they're fighting as to who interviews them.
I'll tell you who the third party in that marriage should be.
Yeah.
Parky.
Oh,
he's so angry.
No, he's bitter.
He's so angry.
He is. Okay, this is what we'll do before the end of the show. Can we compile a list of bitter people? Really bitter people. Parky is bitter. I tell you another bitter man. Really bitter. Terry Christian.
Oh.
Very, very bitter. Very bitter.
Is he, though, or is it the same thing you accuse me of, which is Mancunian sarcastic voice?
He is very, very bitter.
Right.
He is bitter. 08459 455 555. Bitter people. Angela Rippon.
Well, I was going to say her.
Bitter.
Mm-hmm.
Bitter. She is so bitter.
Selena Scott.
Very bitter.
Oh, she's bitter though.
Very, very bitter. This is going to be fun, dear listener. The rest of the show, bitter people, please. Well, go on. Hang on. Are you saying something I can broadcast?
No, I'm just laughing at Kath's actions and words.
Okay, yes. Kath is doing some actions and indeed some words. We'll leave that there. Bitter people, please. And by the way, thank you. Look at that. Look at that. So, steady. Hey, I'm next to Steve Allen on the What's Hot chart. Thanks, Kevin. Teaspoon Riverneck says that's the best Wogan ever, and he's put full stops between each word to give it gravitas.
Which Wogan were you talking about? The one that was from County Cork or the one that was from Desmond's?
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M40 northbound from the Denham roundabout from the Hillingdon Circus now towards the Denham roundabout at the M40 because of an accident which has made it only be one lane open at junction 1A for the M25. Anti-clockwise on the M25 there's a lane blocked by a 4-vehicle accident between junction 26 Waltham Abbey and 25 for Enfield. In Cheshunt the A10 is looking slow southbound from the New River Trading Estate towards the M25 junction 25 at Enfield, and in Dunstable looking at the speed sensors the A5 High Street North is looking slow around Church Street and West Street. On the train, Southern have 15-minute delays between Watford Junction and Balham because of a problem with the track that has damaged some of the trains, and the 7:46 train from Welwyn Garden City to Moorgate is delayed. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. Hang on. 7:46, it's Friday the 1st of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. And Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, no me neither, has been jailed for 7 years for his rolling a drugs gang. Here's Elizabeth with the weather.
It's Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Elizabeth? Elizabeth? The way Elizabeth? 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 Elizabeth! Elizabeth? 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 Elizabeth! Elizabeth! Oh, blimey.
Every weekday from 3. Local stories.
People in Watford are being urged to celebrate their local heroes by creating a postcard in their honour. In other local news, rugby fans are being warned to watch out for fake World Cup tickets.
Roberto Peroni.
Now, a metal detectorist has discovered an archaeological find in a field near Royston in Hertfordshire. Taxi drivers in Luton are demanding to be allowed to drive in bus lanes at all times. There is to be a new station at the Leighton Buzzard Narrow Gauge Railway.
Roberto Peroni. Weekdays from 3 on BBC Three Counties Radio.
Roberto Peroni, skinny and bony.
Call 08459 455.
What was that? That's a song.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
What song is that?
My Little Pony.
That's what it is. And every time I hear Roberto Peroni's name, thank you. Do you know what? That's been bugging me for years.
You didn't come to the right woman.
No.
I'm the My Little Pony expert.
I never go to the right woman. That's my problem, guys. But for years, the last 2 years, every time I hear Roberto's name, the full name, that little thing has gone off in my head. And it's the first time I've dared say it out loud.
And now we're all hearing it.
It's like the He-Man. It takes him an hour to pick up a flower.
Remember that
one? There were loads of them, weren't there?
Yeah.
What were the... Oh, I don't know.
Batman and Robin.
Go on.
I think they were all rude.
You know the Batman theme, right? What are the words to it?
Batman.
You know there's no one singing on that.
Oh?
There's no one singing on... Get the Batman theme, right? The classic Batman theme. There's no one singing on the Batman theme.
Well, I know they probably didn't do the... But they did go, Batman. No?
No. It's just horns.
What?
I'm sure I'm right on this, guys. There's no one... That's right, you can hear Paul Scoins warming up his vocals. He's just demanding his rider of a bottle of scotch and brown M&Ms. There is no one singing Batman. It's horns going...
Wow, they got the trumpets to sing Batman.
Honestly, I'm sure that's right. I'm right on that, aren't I, guys?
Let me look into it.
Could you look into that for me, please?
I'm going to look into it.
Because I'm pretty sure...
Oh.
Yay! It's no one saying it. It's horns going... Batman! 08459 455 555. We're compiling a list of bitter people as well.
Just checking, are we still doing the grown-up programme, or is that finished at past?
This is grown up, dude.
Okay. Dude. Just call me a dude.
This is proper grown up. Is the new BBC technology letting us down again? Don't worry, guys. We spent a fortune on brand new technology. It'll work. I'll just use my mobile phone, please. Anthony Worrell Thompson. Anthony Worrell Thompson. I don't think he is bitter anymore. I think he's humble.
Let me give you someone who's bitter.
Anthony Worrell Thompson is always turning up at BBC buildings with his cap in his hand, saying, "Excuse me, Gov. I'm really sorry for stealing that stuff. Can I?" No, Thompson. No, we have not forgiven you. Forgive him. Forgive him! For goodness sakes. It's Worrell Thompson. We all liked a bit of the was.
Honeyford.
Very bitter. Very bitter indeed. 08459 455 555 is the telephone number. If you want to give us a call, you can text us as well. 81333. Start your text 3CR. Otherwise... it goes to the wrong station. Scott, you didn't make up the Roberto Peroni song. I made that up. I made that song up. You didn't make it. It's the My Little Pony song. Don't start giving it all. Don't start giving it large, sunshine. You're right, Ian's wrong. About what, Kyle? Oh, about the Batman theme. Are you listening to it? Well, put it on the air, 'cause I've got nothing to talk. Don't just do it selfishly. Put it on the air so we can listen, because I've got nothing to talk about. Oh, Scoins is up now. We'll talk to Scoins. Hey, now listen, guys. I don't know if you knew this. Next Thursday, there's a little bit of voting going on. OK? But you might have a vote. You might have 2 votes. Hey, you might have 3 votes. Bedford, 5 votes. They're not voting for the next MP. Well, they are voting for the next MP. There's also another 4 elections. Political reporter Paul Scoins is on the banks of the Great Ooze. Good morning, Paul Scoins. Is it oozing from within?
It is. It's very oozy. It's a nice morning here this morning. Swans have just landed, and there's 2 Canada geese which are effectively hassling me.
Sorry, I thought we were talking to Paul Scoyne's political reporter, not Paul Scoyne's Our Getting Bullied by Birds reporter.
Well, I can be flexible.
This is the rumour that's going around the office, Paul. 5 elections in Bedford. What's going on? This is brilliant.
You feel the excitement, the palpitations. Absolutely. This is, I think, a record. I've tried to get that confirmed, but I haven't had that done yet. But it's certainly a record in the UK this year. There are no other places in the country which have as many elections as Bedford, and you can almost feel the sense of anticipation on the street. I mean, in seriousness, this is going to be one of those places which perhaps has a real significant outcome on the whole election. You've talked already this morning about some of the really big issues facing the country, immigration, austerity as well. And, you know, in a place like Bedford where there's only a majority of 1,300 people for the Conservatives, this is an area where, you know, actually voting can make a difference. It could change who's going to be in charge. What's kind of the pecking order in Bedford? If the Tories are kind of there at the moment, who's coming up close behind? Well, at the last election in 2010, the former MP, Patrick Hall, the Labour Party, lost his seat by 1,300 to Richard Fuller from the Conservatives. Now, Patrick Hall's standing again. It's going to be the 6th time he's standing against Richard Fuller. Well, not the 6th time he's standing against Richard Fuller, but the 6th time he's standing. And Richard Fuller's defending this seat. It is going to be close, and that's why we've seen the Prime Minister come here in the last few weeks. We've seen Ed Balls come countless times. I understand Ed Miliband's coming next week as well. We'll see probably more Conservative big hitters coming in the next week too, and they see this as a real pivotal seat. It's one of those marginal constituencies where anything can happen, and we're talking about a government in 8 days' time which may only be decided by a handful of seats. That makes Bedford quite interesting, and as you say, you know, there are other elections going on. We've got the Police and Crime Commissioner election, which of course is the first of its kind, the referendum on to raise council tax. We've got the mayoral election too, and that's going to be close. So there is a sort of sense that things are changing. I've been out on the streets of Bedford to try and work out if people really understand the number of ballot papers that they're going to have to contend with on Thursday.
Is that my cue to press play?
Yeah, it was.
I've just done it as it come in and got it back in the post.
So in Bedford, there are 5 elections taking place on May the 7th. Does that just make you go a bit mad, having to think about all those different people to vote for?
No. I do it for one and one only.
No, it's. I don't find that confusing. I think some of their policies cause a confusion. It's a question of choice, not of numbers.
Well, I think if you're used to using the ballot paper and are registered to vote, then you should not have too much problems. 5 minutes at the most if you know who and what you want. But obviously if you can't make your mind up or you're not used to the system, then yes, it will be a bit of a challenge for some people.
Well, Paul, I've got to ask, are you at the foot of a volcano or something? Because if you are, I suggest you get out of there quickly. It sounds like it's about to erupt.
Sorry, Ian, you dropped out.
Thank you very much indeed, Paul Scoynes. Where is he? Thank you, Paul. Paul, but very quickly before you go, because and it is really, really noisy there. It's very noisy there, Paul. So I'm just going to keep you for a second. Do people? Is it going to be confusing for people to vote, or will it be quite straightforward?
Is he talking to me still?
Yes. Okay. There we go. That's great. Thanks very much indeed. BBC Technology and BBC presenters. Kiri's on the line. Morning, Kiri.
Good morning.
That was fun, wasn't it? Well, that was as smooth as I was expecting it to be.
It's nearly as smooth as always my calls are.
Michael's? Are Michael's smooth in your experience?
My calls.
Michael who? Row the boat ashore? Hallelujah?
I have to tell you who's bitter and disgusting.
Oh, we weren't doing a who's a disgusting phone-in, we were doing a bitter.
But I think you might agree, is John McCruick.
Well, do you know what? I think John McCruick was bitter. And then when we had him on the show, I don't know. Do you know what? Let's go to Catherine Boyle. Catherine Boyle. Kerry is suggesting John McCruick is bitter. He definitely was bitter. We had him on the show 2 weeks ago. Bitter or not bitter?
No.
Bitter or mild? Oh.
Mild, proper mild.
Bitter or mild? The next hour of the show, that's the phone-in. Yeah. Bitter or mild?
He was mellowed, I think. Maybe he's been chastened.
He was resigned, I think. Yeah. Well, he was sacked, but I think he was resigned as well.
Maybe the boobies calmed him down.
Yeah.
I think that was a bit of an act, though, don't you? And maybe he just gave in to the act a bit too much at the end.
Yeah, possibly. But can I just tell you something?
Is it about how much you fancy Justin? Because if it is, I'm not that bothered.
Well, no, I've got two things to say.
Go on, then.
I've got an apology to you first, because I've been feeling really guilty that I dissed your love of the monkeys.
Yeah.
So I have to say I'm sorry. I was out of order.
You were out of order, yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And secondly, I just have to say, last night I went out with my work, and so I'm a bit fragile this morning, and we went racing, and it was a really good night.
What do you mean you went racing? How far did you run?
Oh, no, I don't run. No, horse racing. We went to Toaster. No, we didn't. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we went.
You literally haven't got a clue what month it is, have you, Kiri? What month is it, Kiri?
It's the 1st of May, isn't it?
Yay! Pinch punch, first of the month and no return. A punch and a kick for being so quick. A poke in the eye for being so shy. You smelt it, you dealt it. There we go. Thank you very much indeed, Kiri. Thank you. I'm not quite sure what happened at the end of that conversation there. I think we entered her drunken madness.
You got pwned.
Have you got the Batman theme?
Yeah.
We won't do it now.
Good, because I'm just putting it in.
OK, put it in. There's no one singing on Batman, it's horns. It's all's horns.
We'll find out in the next 10 minutes.
We will find out, mate. And you say that as though you're going to pwn me. I'm
not saying it like anything. I'm saying it with my mouth.
It's an optical ear. It's an aural illusion. An aural illusion.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
On the M40, it's down to one lane at junction 1A for the M25, which is causing delays from the Denham roundabout and from Hillingdon Circus. On the M25, anti-clockwise, there are queues from junction 26 for North Abbey to 25 for Enfield. And the A10 southbound has delays from Turnford towards the M25, junction 25 at Enfield. In Dunstable, on the High Street, that's looking slow around Church Street and West Street in both directions. And in Wheatley, on the A40, there's reports that it's been partially blocked eastbound because of a broken down car at the M40 spur. On the trains, Southern have 15-minute delays between Watford Junction and Balham because of problems with the track and some trains. Samantha Brough, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Yeah, that's it, Sammy. That's what I'm talking about. Bitter or mild? That's a great title. It doesn't really work, but it's a great title. Which celebrities are bitter?
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8 o'clock. I'm Simon Oxley. The headlines: 3 investigations into Bedford Immigration Centre. Miliband rejects any deal with the SNP, and former Luton boxing champion jailed.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The most recent inquiry involves the suspension of a custody officer for allegedly using excessive force to disperse a protest. Serco, who run the centre, say they had intelligence the detainees were armed with cutlery. Usman Noor is the lawyer representing some of the detainees.
They have the right to a peaceful protest. They sat in, they sang songs. There were other ways of getting through those ladies. They did not need to bring in 40 riot officers with helmets and shields, and they did not need to hit them.
The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have appeared in the last TV event before the election. David Cameron refused to spell out whether or not he planned to cut child benefit. Nick Clegg defended going into coalition with the Conservatives, and Ed Miliband gave his most emphatic rejection yet of any agreement with the SNP.
If it meant we weren't going to be in government, not doing a coalition, not having a deal, then so be it. I'm not going to sacrifice the future of our country, the unity of our country. I'm not going to give in to SNP demands around Trident, around the deficit or anything like that.
A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are becoming mini welfare states, providing support for children from deprived backgrounds. Tony Draper from Bletchley's Waterhall Primary School also heads the National Association of Head Teachers, which claims 84% of heads often provide food, clothes and washing facilities for some children.
There are things that have happened in our school where families, due to no fault of their own, have been able to rely on us to feed feed and clothe their children when they've got into difficulties and not being able to themselves.
Nepal says it needs more helicopters to get supplies to people in remote areas affected by last Saturday's earthquake. It's urging foreign governments to help. The Red Cross says towns near the epicentre have suffered almost total devastation. A former world boxing champion from Luton is beginning 7 years in prison for supplying drugs. Graham Earl was part of a gang of dealers operating in Hitchin and Letchworth. More from Barry Caffrey.
Earl, who once held the WBU lightweight title and fought Amir Khan, had his last fight in 2014 when he came out of retirement. But the 36-year-old from Talbot Way in Luton was part of a 6-strong gang which supplied cocaine and cannabis and sold it on the streets. The leader of the gang, Christopher Collins from Paynes Park in Hitchin, was jailed for 12 years, while another boxer, 26-year-old Amador Rahman from Jessup Road in Stevenage, was jailed for 4 years.
In sport, Watford boss Slavisa Jokanovic has been named the Championship Manager of the Month for April, following the Hornets' promotion to the Premier League. Milton Keynes Dons boss Carl Robinson is the League One Manager of the Month. The weather, a dry, fine day with plenty of sunshine, maximum temperature 12 degrees Celsius. And you can get the latest news and sport online at bbc.co.uk/Three Counties.
Thank you, Simon. Gosh. It's been a really busy show. I mean, feisty. Not everyone agreeing on the texts with what's being said, but that's all part of it. Yarlswood, dirty kids, bitter or mild. Which celebrities are really bitter? So far, we've got Gloria Hunniford, Angela Rippon, Bruce Forsyth, Parkinson. Bitter celebrity, please. Terry Christian. 81333. Start your text 3CR. You can give us a call. 08 459 455 555.
Across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
And we'll do this in a bit. The Batman theme, it's not got people singing on it. It's horns. It's horns. We'll do that in a bit.
I'm sure there was a Batman.
No, it's a Batman.
That's
It's a
someone
horn.
singing.
Yeah, that's me singing. I'm doing the
right.
impression of a horn. I didn't listen or watch any of Question Time last night because, you know what, I'm really bored of this flipping election.
I heard some of it. I drifted off to sleep.
I heard like a snatch of the Cameron, and I heard like 2 minutes of Miliband and 2 minutes of Clegg. Why were they all cracking gags? They were all cracking gags. The bit I heard of Miliband was going, well, you know, I'm not going to be like the other guy and not making jokes about and getting big laughs, talking about Cameron. And then Clegg, the first question for Clegg was about tuition fees. He went, well, that's a great start. Thanks for making me feel so comfortable. Anyway, stop the gags.
A lot of references to a darkened room as well.
Oh, what?
Go over it, boys.
The darkened room, is that like a 50 Shades of Grey reference?
Somebody said I wouldn't want to be in a darkened room with X, and then X said that I wouldn't want to be in a darkened room with you, and then the other one said I probably quite like it.
Oh, blimey. Anyway,
I made the last one up, but they probably would.
I mean, fair play. The best the Mail has got, I mean, the best, the thing that the Mail is focused on, obviously don't like Miliband, I didn't see this, is a picture of him stumbling as he got off stage. Oh, guys, come on, what about the policies? What about the policies? No. And it didn't look like a massive stumble either. Give us some texts, and then we'll crack on with.
Have some texts.
With talking about this story. We're busy, lots of stories this morning.
Adele thinks that Russell Brand is a bitter person.
No, he's not bitter. No, he's mild.
You don't need to be, does he?
No, he's mild.
Bitter people. Most football managers are very bitter. Mourinho and Wenger spring to mind, says Ben of Bucks.
Mourinho's not bitter.
I think he's just dry.
Yeah, Mourinho's not bitter.
He knows he's cool.
Yeah.
He knows he's cool. Doesn't need to. I think you'll find the lyrics to He-Man, says Phil, are "You ain't got the power to pick up a flower or flick off the zits from your nose."
I always thought it takes him an hour to pick up a flower.
Yeah, I thought it was.
Yeah, you're dissing He-Man.
Because he's, you know...
Are they they should remake He-Man.
They couldn't.
What was He-Man's
They couldn't. They were...
He's really strong.
Really strong, but he...
had the power of Greyskull. Greystone. Yeah. Greyskull. It was a sword, wasn't it? Magic sword, wasn't it? And he knew Ram-Man.
Ram-Man and Fisto.
Wow. That was my nickname at school. I was very brave about it. Prison watchdogs are back at Yarlswood this morning as the detention centre is the focus of another round of damaging allegations. And let's just quickly look at the other allegations. Of course, April the 20th, 33-year-old Pinakin Patel collapsed and died at the centre's family unit. The death is being investigated, and 2 Serco officers have been suspended after a Channel 4 programme exposed them using racist, sexist, abusive and degrading language. Well, the new incident involves a protest. A custody officer has been suspended as part of the latest inquiry amid claims he used excessive force to break up a protest. Well, Heather Jones is coordinator for Yarlswood Befrienders. Heather, just for those people who maybe haven't heard you on the show before, Yarlswood Befriender, what is that? What do you do?
We're a group of local people who are concerned about what happens to people in Yarlswood. We visit, we cannot give any legal advice, but sometimes there are things that we can suggest might help, something that it would be worth talking to their solicitor about, or some practical advice that we can give them. We find one of our volunteers who will visit them regularly so that they've got somebody to talk to.
How regular is regularly? How often do they go in?
Every week.
Every week, OK. What more do you know about these 3 investigations? They're all very, very serious situations, aren't they?
Well, I certainly haven't spoken to anyone who was involved in the last incident directly. But when you have a lot of people who are locked up indefinitely for what is administrative convenience, people are going to be upset. Where they feel there is a sense of injustice, there are going to be protests.
Let me play devil's advocate, Heather, and we've had a few texts this morning about this, and we generally get a few phone calls on this. And this isn't necessarily where I'm coming from, but I just want to put this to you. These women, they come over here, we put them up, we feed them, we clothe them. When they get out, they're only going to sponge off the state. What more do they want?
People who come here to ask for help need to be helped, not locked up. If I was locked up when I'd been asked to somebody for help, I wouldn't find that an acceptable way to be treated. Would you?
But why should we help them, Heather? That's another question that comes up regularly when we talk about Yarlswood. Why should we help them? You know, we've got a story this morning about kids going to school who haven't eaten and they've got dirty clothes. Why should we help these women?
Because they need help. We are signed up to the Refugee Convention. What's the alternative? We just turn our backs?
Yeah.
I don't find that acceptable. There's been a lot of fuss recently about the people trying to cross the Mediterranean. People don't do that unless they're really desperate. If bodies were being washed up on the coast of Britain, would people find it acceptable that they were just left to drown?
Heather, what do you think about the way Yarlswood is run? I remember a long time ago, I don't know when it was, we had one of the people in charge of Yarlswood came on and said, no, we're doing a great job and I'm happy to come on your show whenever you want and tell you that. Well, he moved on from his job about 3 weeks later. It would appear there's not much consistency, and it's popping up in the news regularly for the wrong reasons.
I don't think there are any right reasons for it popping up. The management is changed regularly. I'm not quite sure why that is done, but that's how Serco operated. There is a lot of goodwill. There are a lot of good staff there, but the system is poor. A system that treats people very badly.
What would you do differently, Heather? What needs to change, in your opinion?
There needs to be a limit on detention. The parliamentary detention inquiry that was released earlier this year had some very strong recommendations. They were talking about making detention an absolutely last resort for a very short period of time, and that people's cases should be dealt with while they are living in the community, where they have access to any forms of help that they might need, access to be able to present their cases properly.
The problem with that, Heather, again, I'm playing devil's advocate, and I hope you don't mind me, kind of challenging you like this. I know you can take it. You're an intelligent woman. The problem with that is if you have the people in the community, it would be easy for them, if they were dodgepots, to just kind of disappear, wouldn't it?
It would. There isn't an enormous amount of evidence to show that people do routinely abscond. It's what people are often accused of, or a reason giving for their detention in the first place, that they might abscond. And these may have been people who have been regularly reporting for months, if not years. So to suddenly be told, oh, you might abscond, is another reason why people might feel rather aggrieved. But it's also extremely costly to keep people locked up. It's much cheaper to keep people in the community.
Heather, always good to talk to you. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Heather Jones, coordinator for Yarlswood Befrienders.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Lisa. Heather Mills. Very bitter woman. Very bitter. She was bitter before she got with... She's always been bitter. I mean, fair play. She's been through, some stuff. But she was always bitter from before McCartney and became even bitterer.
Yeah, we thought it was feist before, didn't we?
No, it was bitterness. Although, do you know what? I kind of quite like Heather Mills. I kind of quite like her.
I like the fact that she don't care.
Well, she don't care. And fair play. I mean, I thought she seemed bitter. Who knows what happened in that marriage? We'll never know.
Well, she's told us quite a lot of what she says happened.
I thought the way she was torn apart by the press afterwards, I mean, she kind of invited a bit of a backlash. But the way she was torn apart after that marriage fell apart was pretty horrible. I think, do you know what? I think a lot of bitterness that the British public had for Yoko Ono in 1968, they took out on Heather Mills.
You think they exorcised their bitterness?
I do. I genuinely do.
Possibly.
I think a lot of people as well were angry with McCartney for getting with her a year after Linda died.
I know, but do you remember what he said? When you've loved someone that much, you kind of want that back in your life.
When you love someone that much, you want to go for a woman who's 30 years younger than you and a former lingerie model.
Have you seen the wedding pictures?
No.
I think the Mail published them like 2 weeks ago or something, and they've got the whole wedding party there and the two daughters at the front stony-faced.
do you know what, guys? I'm going to say it. I like Heather Mills.
I also wouldn't mess with her.
No.
So if you're listening, morning, Heather. Go, girl.
Who was the fellow who's there's someone bitter about our show today, isn't there?
Oh, really?
Who's the fellow that's bitter about the show?
Dealey.
Where's Dealey? We didn't have Dealey in the last hour.
He's going to be on in a bit. Don't you worry.
Is he being let down by
busy.
technology?
He's busy with
Morrising
dances.
I bet he's loving that vibe.
Lisa in Leighton Buzzard reckons Michael Aspel.
Oh,
no, Aspel is bitter.
Is he?
Yeah, I've seen him on this morning be very, very bitter, yeah.
Phil is offering himself up as bitter.
OK, go on.
He says, as a member of Generation X, I'm bitter that I'll have to work forever to pay for the generation before me, a generation that subjected me to a childhood under the threat of nuclear war and sitting in the dark because of power cuts, to name a few.
Just give me the first line and I'm going to do an obscure musical joke for about 15 people out there. Go on.
As a member of Generation X...
Stop. I'd be bitter if I'd been in a group and the lead singer had gone off to America and become Billy Idol and left me in the lurch. I'd be bitter if I'd been in a group with Billy Idol, had a small hit, then he'd gone off to the States, become one of the biggest rock stars for about 20 minutes in the 1980s and left me on Mick Jackson.
Oh.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M40 northbound because it's down to one lane through junction 1A for the M25, which is causing queues all the way from RAF Northolt on the A40 through the Denham roundabout towards the M25. On the M25 itself, anti-clockwise, it's busy between junction 26 for Waltham Abbey to 25 for Enfield because of an accident in the Holmesdale Tunnel earlier. And in Bricket Wood on the North Orbital Road, that's looking slow at the M25 junction 21A roundabout. In Boreham Wood, the A1 is slow southbound from Stirling Corner towards Mill Hill Circus. And it's busy in Dunstable on the High Street in both directions, approaching West Street and Church Street. On the trains, though, the delays between Watford Junction and Balham have cleared up now. The trains are all in the right place again after the problems with the track and the trains. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
All right, Sammy, if you love travel so much, why don't you marry it?
That's impossible.
Oh, yeah. A man had sex with a postbox recently. If you love something enough, you can make it work. Made myself laugh. 8:16. It's Friday, the 1st of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Baby smooth.
Yes, you are, aren't you?
Smooth as a baby's bum. How do I know that? I compared last night.
Really?
I've had a shave. The beard's gone. Dealey's a one-man beard club now.
It has gone.
Yeah.
I quite liked the beard. I thought it made you look butch.
Thank you. Well, hang on. But I look butch now. I look babyface.
You look younger now.
Yeah. I know I enjoyed the beard. The beard will come back. I just got a bit bored of it.
Oh. Gets a bit itchy, doesn't it?
No, it wasn't itching. I was doing this a minute ago and I'd forgotten my moustache had gone because the moustache was overhanging. I could suck it.
Suck it?
Yeah, I could suck.
Could you suck food out of it and things like that?
It did get messy, and I would wake up with I would sleep on my left side and I'd wake up with drool, kind of a really drooly beard.
Going a bit crusty.
A little bit crusty, yeah.
Oh, that's lovely.
But I would wash it every 3 or 4 days and it would sort the problem out. Not a problem at all. But it's gone. You ever grown a beard? Because I can see from your stubble you would grow there are no gaps. That your face
No, I can grow a good beard.
Yeah.
The slight problem, and I say this without wishing to cause any offence to our flame-haired listeners,
yeah.
but the bottom half of my face is bright ginger.
Yeah. The top half's not that much off.
The top half is just the other side. It's kind of like a blonde with a... Go on, say what you want to say.
No, you would generously, very generously call it in a half light with your eyes squinted strawberry blonde. But I mean, you're a ginger.
What?
And that's fine. I'm not one of these people that's anti-ginger.
No, he's on the tawnier side of blonde, I'd say. I'd say you're more
It's
of a...
quite mousy, really.
Yeah,
he's not tawny or mousy. He's neither an owl nor a rodent. He's ginger, and that's fine. Embrace it,
The bottom
brother.
half of my face is bright ginger. And I did many years ago. I tried to. Do you remember when goatee beards were in?
Yeah.
I grew a goatee beard.
Did you really?
And
I bet you look like your evil twin brother.
I look like Robin Cook.
You. I nearly asked an inappropriate question, which I'm not going to, but I just wondered, just wondering what the colouring is elsewhere. Hey, listen. I held off. You can show me for a hotel. For £13 a night?
I know. In Marrakesh.
I would expect the manager to be taking swings at me in a hotel that cheap. It sounds awful.
This was the consumer case we were
Such a
talking
good
about
story yesterday.
The man who went to Marrakesh, missed his flight.
I got no sympathy for this guy.
Really?
He missed his... Oh, mate, he missed his... Yes, admittedly, I got there as the gate was closing, but there was plenty of time to get on. That's not how it works, mate. There's always plenty of time between the gate closing takeoff. That's not how it works. You missed the flight. Tough. Next.
But the hotel was awful. But when we clarified with the booking agent yesterday how much the hotel had cost, I think the entire accommodation cost was £69 for 2 people.
For 2 people for like 4 or 5 nights?
4 nights, yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah. But I don't know, maybe Marrakesh is... Because I wouldn't want to go to Marrakesh because apparently they chain monkeys up in the streets and things like that.
Oh, can you buy them? Can you hire them for
monkeys chained up in the streets?
Can you dress them up as bellboys and butlers and get them to serve you drinks? I mean, they have their nails ripped out, of course. They don't want to get scratched to catch rabies.
But I don't know whether it's one of those cheap countries, where you can buy a pint of beer for 10p.
£13. I'll be honest. I really thought you were going to tell him to jog on yesterday, that fella, because he sounded very ungrateful. Very ungrateful. You were very... Because you're normally quite cold with your...
sorry, hang on a minute. What?
If someone is swinging the lead on your consumer hour...
Yeah.
You're normally very cold.
But,
and you're straight. You're straight with them. And I didn't think you were straight with this guy. I was really disappointed in you, mate.
Well, we haven't yet sought clarification on this price because there's still a question mark over whether really it could be as low as £13 a night. So I think we'll get clarification.
And then you'll be short with him.
We'll get clarification and then we'll take it from there, Iain.
Is it on today? You doing that one today?
I don't know.
Okay.
It may be on today.
Honestly, and I hope you take this genuinely, the Consumer Hour is one of my highlights of the week of radio listening. I love it.
I know.
And I do love it.
I'm very flattered you like it.
And I do sometimes, I'll listen to 3 or 4 of them on a Sunday as I'm doing some stuff around the house. And I do love it. If someone is a chancer, you basically tell them to jog on.
I
do
do.
know that, yeah.
I do. But, you know, this man, they'd had a tough year. They had a tough year.
They had a tough year. It was a tough year.
This holiday was a treat for them.
Yeah, he missed the flight.
Yeah.
What's in your show this morning?
Coming up on this morning's Big Phone In from 9, would you like our next government to limit child benefit? Last night, in the big BBC Leaders debate, David Cameron said he has no plans to cut child benefit. He was forced to clarify his position after the Liberal Democrats claimed the Conservatives planned £8 billion worth of child benefit cuts 3 years ago. Mr Cameron told the live audience he'd rejected the idea back then and he rejects it today. He did, however, confirm a Conservative government would make a further £12 billion worth of cuts to the welfare bill. And speaking after him on the programme, Ed Miliband argued Mr Cameron had not gone far enough to promise he would never cut child benefit. Well, from 9 this morning, I'd like your response to this. Would you like our next government to limit child benefit? Your call on 08459 455 555 from 9.
Only heard a bit of it, and what I've hated about all the interviews and all the talking and all the forums in this election. Last night they were doing gags, and I thought I didn't get that. But they would do the real thing of. So ask me a question. Ask me a question about my policies.
Are you going to increase income tax?
And sorry, what was your name?
Paul.
Paul, I'm so glad you asked me that question, Paul, because the important thing is, Paul, and they think that by mentioning your name all the time, that we're going to think, hey...
He's really cool and just one of us.
He's such a cool guy, when obviously someone who's being paid 250 quid an hour has sat down and said, right, get their name and say their name as many times as you can. It's so stage managed, it's horrible.
But that's politics, isn't it?
Yeah. You
know... I mean, what would you rather have?
I'd like them to swear. Do you know what I'd like?
Would you like Ed Miliband, for example, to have said, whatever your name was, whoever you are in the audience, no, we're not going to.
I would like him to go, do you know what? That was a stupid question and you're just having a pop, right? The Tories and the Lib Dems, they have completely effed everything up, and then David Cameron comes out and goes, you know that Ed Miliband, he's a right twit. Wouldn't it be great?
I'm feeling really frightened here, City.
Clegg comes out and says the other two are a couple of shoo them away from where... It'll be great, wouldn't it? This is a fun game to play with you.
No, it's not. I don't like this game.
Wouldn't it be great, though, if they swore, they spoke the language?
No.
No,
because I think that would all be terribly naff.
Oh.
Well, it would, because you'd know they were doing it to sound,
if
cool.
It was in full, if it was full, if it wasn't a natural, yes, if it wasn't a natural F-bomb or something like that.
Yeah. Some politicians have foul mouths on them.
Don't they, Josh? Sorry, we've been talking for so long. You should remind people of your question. Yes, I've been talking for ages. I've got guests and everything. I know, sorry.
Would you like our next government to limit child benefit? I'll take your calls from 9.
BBC Introducing.
On Bank Holiday Monday, BBC Introducing celebrates some of our biggest success stories.
House in Budapest, my hidden treasure chest.
George Ezra, Jack Garrett, Rhodes, James Bay all started out right here as unsigned local musicians.
BBC Three Counties are, they're kind of, their arms are wide open and their ears are open to new music.
Hear their stories from backroom gigs to headline shows. Bank Holiday Monday from 6 here on BBC Three Counties Radio.
We'll discuss what's happening on the Bank Holiday Monday after past. But before that, let's crack on with this story. A teaching union says schools are having to take on extra roles of feeding, washing and clothing children. The National Association of Head Teachers says the help is going to pupils from poor families. Sumi Rabinda Kumar is from the single-parent charity Gingerbread. Morning, Sumi.
Morning.
What's your take on this research?
Well, I think we know that parents do all they can to put their kids first, but what these figures show, sadly, too often that's just not possible anymore. We know that working-age families with children have been among the hardest hit by tax and benefit changes, particularly single parents. And they're struggling to make up the difference between those losses and rising prices of household essentials, as well as stagnant wages and increased low-paid and insecure work.
More people are in work at the moment, though, aren't they? So surely you would have thought that would have had a knock-on effect, and kids would have been fed and clothed better.
That's right, more people are in work, but what we've also seen is an increased risk of in-work poverty, and it's showing that a job just isn't enough. So we hear time and again parents are taking on second, even third jobs, coping in every way they can, cutting back on what they're spending, cutting out spending entirely in some cases for things like skipping meals and so on. But there's a point at which they just can't do any more, and many parents are finding they've got nowhere else to turn to.
It's always been tough, though, hasn't it, Sumi? Always. I remember in the 70s we didn't have anything to rub together in terms of money. I had clean clothes to school every day. I got fed. Do people not know how to budget anymore?
No, I don't think that's the case. I think particularly when you're on a low income, you absolutely know what you've got to spend down to your pounds and pence. What's happened is that safety net has been taken away. And what we see, particularly in this case, is firstly that emergency support is no longer being delivered in a very sustainable, consistent way. The schemes to deliver emergency support have been localised. Many people aren't being able to access the help they need in a crisis as they could before. And secondly, there's a bigger picture issue. We've seen the reason for benefits is to deal with things like low pay, high housing and childcare costs that have been rising significantly in recent years. Cuts to that support just make it even harder to manage without providing a real solution. And what we need is for politicians to take note, to see that families are really being pushed to breaking point and deliver long-term solutions that actually look at low pay, that look at fair financial support for those in work, including childcare costs, and proper support to help people back to work. And that's really how to help parents back on their feet and provide for their families.
But the coalition would argue that there is proper support for people to get back to work. We said earlier that it's the lowest unemployment rating for quite some years. But we are better off, aren't we?
Well, I think what we're finding is that those on the lowest incomes are really struggling. We've seen a rise in low-paid work. We've seen a rise in insecure work. We've seen issues like zero-hour contracts come up recently.
It's only a small percentage of people with zero-hour contracts, isn't it?
It is a small percentage of people, but it's still a critical mass of people. And there's lots of people who are in sort of part-time work and being stuck in part-time work when they want to work longer hours. We're seeing a job market that isn't delivering the right jobs, sustainable jobs for everyone. And what there's a risk of happening is for families who are struggling, who are most vulnerable, of simply being left behind. And that's why we need a strategy that actually delivers an economic recovery for all by addressing these long-term problems like low pay and high housing and childcare costs.
Sumi, it's good to talk to you. Thank you for your time this morning. Sumi Rabinder Kumar is from the single-parent charity Gingerbread. 08459 455 555.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are delays on the M40 northbound approaching the M25 because of an accident there that's closed 2 lanes, and the delays are reaching the RAF Northolt roundabout, the A40, and going through the Denham roundabout. In Derrells Cross on the A40 Oxford Road, there are queues between Amersham Road and Windsor Road, and also in Telford St Giles, Bowstridge Road is still closed in both directions between the High Street and Narcott Lane because of a building fire. In Tame on the Aylesbury Road, that's looking really slow between Tame Road and Kingsley Road, and also in Houghton Regis on Houghton Road, it's looking really busy into town around Bedford Square. On the trains, Chiltern Railway are reporting possible delays through Dorridge because of a signalling problem. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Sammy, thank you very much indeed. Oh, Marion, the king. Marion in Hemel has texted in, the king of bitter celebrities. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you his bitterness himself, Mr. Bill Oddie.
Across beds, hearts and bugs.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
It's 8:30. I'm Simon Oxley. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have set out the terms for any possible coalitions in the event of a hung parliament. A Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. And former world boxing champion from Luton, Graham Earl, has been jailed for 7 years for his role in a drugs gang.
Three Counties Sports.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Watford boss Slavisa Jokanovic has been named the Championship Manager of the Month for April following the Hornets' promotion to the Premier League. Milton Keynes Dons boss Carl Robinson is the League One Manager of the Month. Watford will clinch the Championship title if they beat Sheffield Wednesday at Vicarage Road tomorrow lunchtime. Here's Captain Troy Deeney.
It's all about now just going out and putting on a show for the home supporters who have been fantastic for us all season. So in front of your home fans with the opportunity to win the league, you couldn't have asked for a better scenario, and everyone will have their families there and their friends, and it'll be great. Honestly, it'll be great.
In League Two tomorrow, Gareth Ainsworth's Wickham must win at Northampton to have any chance of securing automatic promotion.
There is a fairy tale still that could be written, I'm being a bit greedy asking for 2 in 2 years, but if we do our part at Northampton, you never know what's going to happen elsewhere. So, it's something that I still do believe.
Luton hosts Stevenage, with Stevenage already in the playoffs, and John Still's Luton needing a mathematical miracle to overtake Plymouth.
It's not impossible. I wouldn't know what the odds are, but they'd sort of be stacked against it. As a manager, and that I have to believe that things can happen. We broke the record in the playoffs. We won 6-0 against a Morecambe side that was higher in the playoffs than we were.
And Milton Keynes Dons host Yeovil on Sunday as they look to overtake Preston for automatic promotion from League One. In cricket, England have an injury doubt over all-rounder Ben Stokes ahead of the third test against the West Indies, which starts in Barbados this afternoon. A rematch between Hatfield boxer Billy Joe Saunders and Chris Eubank Jr. has moved a step closer. Both have pulled out of their scheduled fights next weekend. There are discussions about a rematch. And in Speedway's Premier League last night, Rye House lost 47-43 at Redcar. BBC Three Counties News and Sports. The next full bulletin is at 9.
Call 08459 455 555.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There's so much we've not talked about. The birthday card, the ghost, Paul McCartney, the royal baby, the rude email, the charity shop. I mean, this afternoon's show is going to be a corker.
There was a sea lion.
Yeah, there's all of that stuff.
What's the birthday card?
Well, the birthday card. Well, no, I'll do it because I don't understand this. Right? Where's the sun?
It's up there.
There we go. The birthday card doesn't make sense, right? I've listened to this, Justin.
Sorry, boss. I'm just erecting my mast.
Thank you very much indeed.
Nothing funny about that. It's what he has to do. Get a signal.
Have a great day.
Yeah.
A card that plays happy birthday until the batteries die has been invented in Utah, US. Well, that was invented in 1983.
We thought it was novel then, didn't we? Then it was annoying.
It does. They do make my boys laugh. They love them. But that's been around forever.
You open it once and it plays until the batteries die.
Yeah.
Or it opens every time until it plays every time you open it.
I guess it must mean it opens. You open it and that's it. It plays forever. But I mean, well, you could just keep a card open. I don't understand. Where's the invention?
It's weird.
Do you get it, Anna?
Oh, I don't get it, Ian, no.
Do you like those cards? What kind of birthday cards do you like, Anna? Do you like filthy ones? Do you like old-fashioned ones that got like a picture of a duck holding an umbrella? Or do you like the musical ones with it's Bobby Davro going, my name's Cliff Richard and I want to wish you a happy birthday?
I used to like them, but I do like the filthy ones.
Oh, do you?
Yeah.
You like the mucky ones?
I have to hide them.
Yeah, I know what you... that is nothing... My mission on my mum's birthday is to either make her cry, which is pretty easy because she's quite an emotional woman, but not by punching her, Kelly, for crying out loud, by giving her an emotional card. My mum is the only person that reads the poetry held within the card.
Yeah, mine does.
And it makes her cry. See, if you just get a card that says on the front, "You're the best mum in the world," and you open it up, it says, ever since I've known you, you've made me feel so nice. I really do adore you. I'll kiss you once or twice. She bursts into tears.
So beautiful.
Yeah, she'll burst into the most beautiful thing in the world. So it's either that or it's to make her face go red with the pictures of willies.
Oh.
Not by punching her, Kelly. Anna, you've not called in about pictures of willies.
No.
Pictures of willies made my life so wonderful.
I live with 3 boys, I don't need any more.
No, oh dear. Anna, what have you called in about? So you called in for something serious?
That gingerbread lady Bless her, she just made me really angry.
That was the lady, Sumi Rabinder Kumar, who's talking about how some kids at schools have they go in and they've not been fed or they've got dirty clothes on and stuff. Why did she annoy you?
Because it's ridiculous. We've all got sinks. We've all got, I fed my family just over £2.50 last night. £1.50 packet of mince and 50p spaghetti.
Beautiful. Hey, when are we coming round?
We ran out of milk this morning, so I said to my son, "Oh, there's a tin of rice pudding. Do you fancy that?"
Ooh.
He went to school on rice pudding.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not in poverty. I have a tumble dryer. I have a washing machine. I run a car. I'm not poor. Please don't tell me I'm poor. I don't have spare money.
But there are people, Anna, who've got less than you. They can't even afford a tin of rice pudding.
Well, I mean, I do feel sorry for people, but you just have to learn how to cook and how to make meals.
Do you think it's entirely down to people having lost home management skills?
Definitely. Of course, I would go without food every time to feed my children. I wouldn't. If my washing machine breaks down, I just wash their clothes by hand. I hate with dirty clothes.
I hate washing by hand. They always feel a bit funny after you've washed them with hand, don't they? They feel a bit sheeny.
It just makes me so cross that we're supposed to just sit there and go, "Oh, please help me, government. Give me some more money, government." It's just you've got to learn.
But if people haven't got jobs, or they are on, and it is a small percentage, but if they are on a contract, a 0-hour contract, and they don't know how much they're going to earn each month, for example, it then becomes very, very difficult to budget, doesn't it?
Of course, and it does. It keeps you up at night. It gives you cold sweats. You feel terrible. You feel it is a burden, but. We live in this fantastic country that gives us everything we need. We just have to give a little bit back and, we can all be happy. We don't have to keep complaining.
We can all be happy. Gosh, it sounds like Nirvana.
If I really haven't got enough money, I'll sell my tumble dryer.
Anna, listen, it's good to talk to you. Thank you very much indeed. There we go.
That's a resourceful woman.
Bitter celebrities. Jack Lemmon. Got an email.
Go on.
We got the King of Bitterness, Bill Oddie. The Archduke of Bitterness, says Aidan. Griff Rhys-Jones. I don't know if he's bitter. I think it's Griff Rhys-Jones.
Do you know who strikes me as bitter? And I may be wrong.
Yeah.
But just Tony Robinson.
Well, no, he's just tired.
Do you think
he's
weary?
He's got a 30-year-old girlfriend and he's 68. He's shattered.
Wow.
Do you know what I mean, Just?
I know exactly what you mean.
I know what you mean.
He is, he's got to, it's hard to keep up with them. Wink, wink, say no more.
I mean, he's in the field all day long digging, and then when he gets home, obviously he's in demand again. He's a busy lad.
He's always rooting around in a hole, that fella.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Wogan to host new show at 76.
Yes.
This is where it started. Old people on television and bitterness.
And we are not saying that Wogan is bitter.
No, Wogan is the opposite of bitter. He's mild. Very mild.
So mild.
Wogan is one of the most unbitter people ever.
Is he mild, though?
He's so... I love Wogan. Oh, I'm Danny Wogan.
Mellow.
I'm Danny Wogan and I got my dogs. He's starting a new...
What was that?
I'm Danny Wogan and coming up, we're going to be playing a little song there. But before that, I want to tell you a little email.
I didn't realise he was Asian.
Uncanny mimic. You are an uncanny...
You wait. When this election is over, between now and next Friday, I am going to be working on my Ed Miller band. Ladies and gentlemen, please, would you welcome to the stage the Ed Miller Band? That's my joke. People have done that joke before, have they?
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit.
Well, I'm going to be doing an excellent Ed Miller Band impression. I reckon I can do it in a week, Just.
We've both been practising, haven't we?
Yeah, yours sounds like Brian Walden.
Well,
welcome to Sunday Politics.
Let's not tell them.
I would book a band called the Ed Miller Band for introducing.
Because I'm a
anyone
picker,
who's
and I'm a joker, and I'm a backstreet poker. I'm making love in the afternoon. Oh, baby, now. Boring guitar solo. I hate that song. It's such a boring 70s. Aren't we cool? We're better than you because we're rock stars, because we're Americans, and because we smoke a little bit of pot.
But
we're better than you.
Your lyrics made it sound more exciting.
Because I'm a player, and I'm a seer, and I'm a total mayor. Playing my guitar for far too long. Boring. Anyway, Terry Wogan, is he too old to be on the TV, Just? You've taken it to the streets.
I have, but a very special perspective today. Of course, recently we've had perspectives from Germany, from Albania, from the Ivory Coast. Today, our perspective has come from Morris dancers. Happy May Day to everybody. For decades now, Morris dancers have been coming to Ampthill Park at 5:30 in the morning, and they dance as the sun rises. So, I've been to meet the Morris dancers to get their views on Terry Wogan. Is he too old? A man in his mid-70s presenting a TV programme? Here's what those guys had to say. Let's begin here with the music in the background. It's May, it's May. What's your name, sir?
I'm Barry.
Barry. It's a Morris dancer's perspective. Go on, shake your bells for me. Beautiful stuff. Terry Wogan, is he too old?
Oh, definitely.
Yeah?
Undoubtedly, yes.
Well, you're very sure there.
Well, he's older than I am, so he must be very old.
Do you not find him entertaining still? Or?
Not particularly, no. But I never have done.
Oh, right. So he's well and truly past it?
I think so, yes, totally.
That's a very harsh Morris dancer's perspective, but we'll take it. Thank you.
That's all right, you will.
Andrew, nice bells. Terry Wogan. Is he too old?
Not at all. No, you're never too old to do anything. No.
Really, a man in his mid-70s presenting a TV programme, that would still do it for you?
Absolutely, yeah. Terry Wogan, 100, I'd still listen to him.
OK, very clear message, thank you.
Thank you.
Nathan, wow, they are very big bells. They're the biggest bells I've seen so far.
Thank you. I like my big bells.
Yeah, they're very, very nice. Terry Wogan, is he too old?
Never too old.
Never.
I love Terry Wogan, and I believe he should come back to Eurovision with Graham Norton.
Come on.
Together. Both of them getting drunk together. Be great.
You seriously miss him on Eurovision?
I do. Watch it every year. Graham's great, but not Terry.
Okay. So if Terry Wogan got a new TV show, you would definitely 100% watch it. You'd back him all the way.
All the way.
Okay. Give us a jingle jangle. Go on. Beautiful. Thank you very much. All right, Jill, can you shake your bells for me? Jill, why are you hanging around outside the men's toilet?
Well, it's a bit whiffy. It's not very conducive to breakfast.
Okay, here comes somebody with their breakfast. Can I ask you, Terry Wogan, he's got a new TV show. He's in his 70s. Quite simply, is he too old?
I just feel that he's been there and done it.
You don't feel guilty for saying that?
No.
Enjoy your breakfast.
What breakfast were they having, Just?
Fry-up.
Oh.
And do you know what? The queue was so long. They go to Ampthill Park, then they go to the Queen's Head in Ampthill.
Oh, yeah.
And people were in there from 7 o'clock. On one side it was Morris dancers. On the other side it was the locals. A tradition, as they said to me, they start drinking from 7 o'clock in the morning, and it's an all-dayer.
Oh, gosh.
But the breakfast was a full fry-up, but the queue was too long.
Oh, man alive.
I know. These Morris dancers.
You're not on tomorrow, are you?
No, I've been dropped again. And do you know what? This really hurts. This really hurts, being a Luton Town fan.
Yep.
Yeah, my show's been dropped for Watford's promotion party tomorrow.
Oh,
mate. I know.
I would take the hint if I were. That's like two weeks in the last month you've been dropped.
Yeah, the last 2 weeks, yeah.
You're not on a Monday, are you?
No, not on Monday either.
Oh, Monday's a great lineup.
Mm-hmm.
Me and Catherine, 6 till 9.
Mm-hmm.
Then some other stuff.
Yeah.
And then Kelly Betts is on.
Oh, it's nice.
Thanks.
Now's your chance to sell yourself, Kelly.
I'm on from...
Not like that!
Oh, should I do this back up?
Yes, thank you.
I'm on from 6...
At night?
At night, talking about the success stories from the 3 counties that have done well.
Short programme.
Music.
Oh, no!
Justin, don't be bitter.
No, bitter,
Yeah.
Justin.
Yeah.
Just because you've been pulled off.
Yeah.
And they've slotted Kelly in. That's
Don't go all oddie on us.
No, don't do an oddie,
It'll be
mate.
a great programme. Kelly always does a great show.
Oh.
Thanks, Justin.
It's all right, no worries.
6 o'clock.
Yes, please.
Monday night.
Yes, please.
And how long does it go on for?
An hour.
That's great.
It could be weeks. There's so much talent, but unfortunately they're only going to give me an hour.
Who's in it? Ben Fogle?
Sure.
Ben Shepherd?
Yep.
All the Bens?
Yep.
Lovely.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Delays on the M40 northbound, all the way from the RAF Northolt towards the M25 because of an accident earlier. There's just one lane closed there now, and the entry slip road from the M25 clockwise, but it's still looking really slow. On the M25 as well, clockwise, it's busy just before junction 16 for the M40, and in Watford on Lower High Street, that's looking very busy around the Bushy Arches. In Chesham, the A10 slow southbound from the New River Trading Estate towards the M25 junction 25 for Enfield. In Gerrards Cross, the A40 Oxford Road is busy westbound between Amersham Road and Windsor Road, not helped by those problems on the M40. And in Dunstable on the High Street North, that's looking very busy around Church Street and West Street. On the trains, there's no reports of any delays at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Samantha?
Yes.
It's okay to find a little squirrel today.
Sorry? What was
It's okay
that?
to find a little squirrel today.
He's looking for squirrels.
It's okay to find a little squirrel today. It's okay to find a little squirrel today.
Answer the question, Samantha. Is it?
I can't tell what he's saying.
It's okay to find a little squirrel today.
Can I find him a squirrel today?
Answer the question, Sammy. Stop fudging.
It's okay to find a little squirrel today.
Yeah, I'll find a squirrel.
Is it okay for a little squirrel to die? And you say yes?
Is that what he's saying?
You make me want to puke. That Sammy Bruff is cold, isn't she? She's so cold. 8:47, Friday, the 1st of May. I'm Iain Lee. These are your headlines on BBC Three Counties Radio. The leaders of the three main Westminster parties have set out the terms for any possible coalitions in the event of a hung parliament. Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month. And a Milton Keynes head teacher says schools are having to feed, wash and clothe children from poor families. The last 13 minutes of the show, 08 459 455 555. Let's get the weather. Here's Elizabeth.
Beds, Hearts and Bucks weather.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
Hello, very good morning to you. Today's going to be a cooler but a cloudier day than we saw yesterday. There will be some spells of quite hazy sunshine at times. Top temperatures this afternoon up to around 12 or 13 Celsius, 55 in Fahrenheit. A bit of an easterly breeze going on as well. So, yes, there will be some cloud, quite a lot of it high cloud, just making that sunshine quite hazy. It'll come and go at times, really. So, staying dry for the rest of the day today. Dry too overnight. Lows of around 3 or 4 degrees. So, quite a chilly night to come again. And then into the bank holiday weekend, well, there's something for everybody. It's going to stay dry for much of the day tomorrow. It will be quite cloudy and it will be quite breezy. It will also be quite cool, 12 or 13 Celsius again, the high. As we head into later on Saturday afternoon, we've got rain spreading in from the southwest. So through Saturday evening, Saturday night and early on Sunday morning too, there'll be plenty of rainfall, outbreaks of rain continuing, but then a nice dry slot on the day, during the day, on Sunday. So we'll see the middle part of the day dry and temperatures will slowly rise. Feeling quite mild actually on Sunday afternoon, 15 or 16 Celsius. And then as we head into Monday, there'll be some spells of sunshine. Watch out for a few showers too, yes, but the sun will come out at times and it'll feel quite nice and pleasant in the sunshine because of the milder air. 16 or 17 degrees Celsius, that's the forecast.
Thank you very much. Oh, election postcodes, you say?
The general election on the BBC.
We're bringing you the news as it happens, wherever you happen to be.
Just enter your postcode on the BBC News website and you'll see all the details of your constituency and the latest news from where you live.
We're helping you understand the policies and key issues.
And what they mean to you.
Election 2015 on the BBC.
Making it clear.
Across Beds, Hearts and Bucks.
This is Iain Lee.
Right,
BBC
got to do this.
Three Counties Radio.
Got to do this. Patricia. Good morning, Patricia.
Good morning, Iain.
You know the Batman theme?
All right, Trevor. Yes.
What are the words to it?
Well, sadly, I could only agree with what Catherine was singing earlier.
No. There is nobody singing the word Batman in there. It's an aural illusion. Shall we listen to it?
Okay.
I'm going to give you the horn, Patricia.
Yes.
It's the horn and it's not the words. Have a listen. Here we go. You singing along?
Humming, yeah.
Yeah, okay, good. That's fine. No one's singing yet, are they? I'm really wondering about what lyrics you sang earlier. No one there. It's a horn. No one there. It's a horn.
What?
No one there. It's a horn.
I'll ask my son if they agree with you.
Is your son there?
No, he has a room full of guitars and instruments.
Oh.
I'll ask him later.
Well,
Anyhow.
How long? Whoa, hang on. How long is that going to take? Because I've only got 8 minutes left.
Not today,
Hang on.
I'm afraid.
Horns, horns, horns. No, there's no one singing. It's just the horn, Patricia.
Okay, I know how clever you are in the music world.
I'm very clever in the music world. You're absolutely right. Patricia, as you flattered me so much, I'm going to let you make your point. What did you call in for, my dear?
Is it your birthday today? You keep talking about birthday cards that have...
Spoke about it once. No, it's not my birthday today.
Well, there must be someone who is, so I want you to listen to this and then tell me afterwards who's singing. Okay?
Okay.
Hold on.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Just because it's your birthday. Happy birthday to you.
Well, Daniel...
Have a great day now.
You have a
Who's
great
that?
day now. Well, it's Daniel O'Donnell.
It is Daniel O'Donnell.
Daniel O'Donnell getting the words wrong to the birthday song.
Well, he's allowed to because he's so nice.
No, if he was so nice, Patricia, he would have recorded cards with every lady's name in the world.
Well, possibly.
He should have done that. He's not that nice, is he? He's just after the bucks, Patricia. He just wants the dollar. The euro, sorry.
Fabulous singer. The last time I saw him, he was prancing across the stage in the Royal Albert Hall, singing The Rivers of Babylon.
By the rivers of Babylon, where we lay down. I'm getting both accents there in the same voice. That's pretty good. Why, do you really like Daniel O'Donnell? He's a bit limp, isn't he, Patricia? A bit fey.
I like a sad song, and he does sing some sad songs.
I like sad songs.
Oh.
I like a good cry at a good sad song. Maybe we'll do a sad song special one day. We'll just bring in Nick Drake and stuff like that and really make everyone on a downer.
We'll do a duet.
What would you like to duet on, Patricia?
I like... Oh, gosh,
Oh,
sorry.
shut up, Daniel! He's such a performer. You can't keep him quiet, can you?
I like wise men say only fools rush in. That's a nice word.
Go on, then. Let's do it.
Okay.
Wise men say only fools rush in, but I can't help falling in love with you.
Having embarrassed myself,
Yes.
I'm going to put the phone down.
Thank you, Patricia. You're delightful. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And she did put the phone down. She did put the phone down.
What a lovely singer.
Was it? Thank
She
you.
is.
Oh. You're right, Trev.
Yeah, not too bad. I'm just looking for a paper bag.
Hey, don't be so rude about Patricia, mate. She's not a professional.
Oh, about you, not her. She can sing, but you can't.
Okay.
You dirty old man.
You dirty old man. Right, Trevor.
Yes.
What you got for us? Wogan.
You're about Wogan, weren't you?
Yes.
What's wrong with Wogan? He's a lovely man. He's a cuddly man.
I like Wogan. I'm pro Wogan. I'm pro
I'm glad, and so am I. So am I. I thought you was anti-Wogan. I do apologise.
I'm Progan. Progan is Wogan is wonderful. I think he's still got it. But I'm anti-Forsyth. I'm definitely anti-Forsyth.
I never have liked him. I ain't never liked him. He's too false.
Harold, come and give me a scrub in the bath, Harold.
No, you're a dirty old man.
Are you going out with that bit from the market tonight, Harold?
Yes.
Are you going to bring her back home so I can have a look at her, Harold?
No, because you're a dirty old man.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you, Trevor. Derek's emailed in, bank holiday without Justin on the airwaves is like ant without deck. Shame on you, 3CR, shame on you. Come on, he's just been given a break. That guy is the most productive gentleman I've ever met in my life, and he just needs to...
he gives and gives.
Yeah, we're going to let him go fallow for a couple of days, that's all. It's like a field with just crop rotations. What you got?
I've got to apologise to you then for the Batman thing, because obviously I was wrong.
You were wrong. There's no one singing.
No,
it's
obvious.
all horn.
Obvious now. You played it to me then. It's horn all the way through, no singing. Gosh, don't your ears play tricks?
But why are you saying it in that voice when actually you know I'm right?
Why, yeah.
All right, we'll have a listen again. Hang on a second.
I'm not saying it in a voice.
Right, there are no voice on this. It's an optical illusion. And what was Patricia singing? It sounded very rude. Here we go. Right. This is what happens when we don't have any calls. We do the same bit twice. Yeah, that's fine. If they laugh, do it again. Right, here we go.
Here we go.
No voices. That's horns. Is that someone going...
Kapow. Kapow, I thought it was going. Wham.
Here we go. No voices.
Just a trumpet. Maybe two. And a trombone. And a cornet.
It's no one singing.
Gosh.
It's an illusion. Why are you saying that voice as though you're about to pwn me? You can't, mate, because it's right.
I'm not poning anyone. This is me being humble.
Click that last because you hear it really clearly on that last one.
Yeah.
That is no one. There are no syllables. For crying out loud,
No.
There are no syllables.
So I'm going to apologise to you now, and I apologise to the listener. I was so sure of myself, and yet again I've come a cropper.
Go on.
Sorry.
But why are you doing it in that voice?
It's the only voice I've got.
But are you seriously accepting that I'm right?
Yeah.
But then why are you doing it in the sarcastic voice?
It's the only voice I've got.
Sometimes, mate. You really do get on my... I didn't swear. I nearly used inappropriate body language.
Okay, so everyone else can fill in the blank or blanks.
Blanks. We got any texters?
Yeah.
Go on.
John Humphreys has been suggested by Lee from Bozat.
Oh, very bitter.
Yeah, but that's his act, isn't it?
No, I've met him. He's a bitter man.
Is he?
Yeah, I met him after I'd wiped the floor on Celebrity Mastermind. Yeah, I'm well, Mastermind, don't matter. Yeah, very, very bitter. Hang on one second. There's no voices.
No voices.
Yeah, that's okay. You're bitter. Go on.
No, that's all I had to say. I'm really sorry.
Okay, well then that apology is accepted. I'll see you on Monday morning at 6.
Yeah.
Kelly, I'll be listening to you Monday afternoon.
I'm here Monday at 6 as well.
With
Not
us?
the same.
What?
I'm in here.
Doing what?
Work.
Blimey. But then you're doing 6 in the evening?
Yeah.
That is absolutely nuts.
Travel news for beds, cards and bugs.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
There are severe delays on the M40 northbound all the way from RAF Northolt approaching the M25 because of an accident earlier which caused the road to be closed. All the lanes have reopened except for the entry slip road which is still closed. On the M25 clockwise there are delays as a result of that around junction 16 for the M40, and in Watford on the lower High Street that's looking very busy around the Bushy Arches. It's also slow in Gerrards Cross on the A40 Oxford Road as a result of the problems on the M40 between Windsor Road and Red Hill, and in Wing in Leighton Road that's looking very busy on the speed sensors from the Wing roundabout towards Well Lane through the roadworks. There's no reports of any delays on the trains at the moment. Samantha Bruff, BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Sammy. That's it, guys. That's your lot from us this week. Catherine and Iain Kelly will be back on Monday. The podcast will go up very, very shortly. Missed Everjoy? Oh, then download the podcast, dear listener. You'll want some of that. Be on iTunes and the 3CR website very, very soon. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Molly. Catherine, we really need to have a chat. Till Monday at 6 from us. Ta-ta.
Local and vocal across beds, hearts and bucks.
This is BBC Three Counties Radio.
Thank you, Ian. Good morning. Welcome to the JVS show. I'm Jonathan Vernon Smith. It's Friday. It's 9 o'clock. And on today's Big Phone In, Would you like our next government to limit child benefit? Last night, in the big BBC Leaders debate, David Cameron said he has no plans to cut child benefit. He was forced to clarify his position after the Liberal Democrats claimed the Conservatives planned £8 billion worth of child benefit cuts 3 years ago. Mr Cameron told the live audience he'd rejected the idea back then and he rejects it again today. He did, however, confirm a Conservative government would make a further £12 billion worth of cuts to the welfare bill. And speaking after him on the programme, Ed Miliband argued Mr Cameron hadn't gone far enough to promise he would never cut child benefit. Well, this morning I want to hear your thoughts. Would you like our next government to limit child benefit? Call me on 08459 455 555.
This is the JVS Show
on BBC Three Counties Radio.
I'll take your call in just a second, but first let's get the latest BBC News at 9:01. Here's Simon Oxley.
The headlines: party leaders set out coalition terms, 3 investigations at Bedford Immigration Centre, and Milton Keynes head says schools are clothing, washing and feeding children.
BBC Three Counties Radio.
The leaders of the 3 main Westminster parties have set out the terms for any possible coalitions in the event of a hung parliament. David Cameron said an EU referendum would be a red line issue in any talks. Nick Clegg admitted the Liberal Democrats had paid a price for going into government with the Conservatives, and Ed Miliband ruled out any deal with the SNP. The SNP leader, Nicola Sturgeon, responded in a later BBC debate.
I heard Ed Miliband and he sounded awfully like he was saying, and I hope I'm wrong about this, that he would rather see David Cameron and the Conservatives back in government than actually work with the SNP. Now, if he means that, then I don't think people in Scotland will ever forgive Labour for allowing the Conservatives to get back into office.
Prison inspectors are carrying out 3 separate investigations at Yarlswood Detention Centre near Bedford, all launched in the space of just over a month.